And also, for the 800 people in here, make sure to say what's good in that comment section. What's going on, political? How old are you?
Hi.
How old are you?
I'm actually.
That's the fetus. We are going to go ahead and move on to our next guest, guys. If we are in the queue, make sure that we are at least 18 years old. Additionally, make sure that we're voting for Trump. But we do not want to talk to any babies.
Hello?
No fetuses. Hey, how old are you?
18.
18. Why do you sound like you're talking out of a Xbox 360 Connect mic?
Because my speaker's broken on my phone.
Okay, yeah, no worries. What year were you born in?
I'm not disclosing that to you.
That is a fetus, guys. We got to be at least 18. Listen, you can't be little babies. We can't be fetuses, ladies and gentlemen. Everyone, just be patient. Bear with us here. But guys, do double tap on that phone screen. Let's try to get up to 30,000 likes and share out this live. We're only at 66 shares. Get with the program. We need to get to 250 right away, folks, ladies and gentlemen. All right, what is going on? How old are you? Oh, this guest is MAGA Mobile. L MAGA Mobile. I want all 1.1 thousand people in the live right now to spam L MAGA Mobile in the chat for whatever the fuck that was. L MAGA Mobile. Okay. Hello, Avery. How old are you? Avery, you're on the live in front of 1.1 thousand people. Are you conscious? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. We're going to move on to our next guest. Honestly, I'm going to go ahead and pull from the chat. If you want to come up and debate, just, let me know in the chat, guys. Let me know in the chat. Just drop a MAGA down in the chat, y'all. We're going to move on to our next guest, ladies and gentlemen. Everyone, just give us a minute. Drop a MAGA in the chat if you do want to come up to debate, y'all. We're going to try to pull up our next guest, Tash, everyone. So just, give us a minute here, guys. All righty. We're going to move on to our next guest. What's up, Tosh? How old are you?
Hi, mate.
How old are you?
I'm 18.
And where are you from?
London.
Get the fuck out of my live, then. All right, moving on to our next guest. We're going to go and try to get Sid up in the box. Sid, I saw you spam MAGA down in that chat. Please accept my request. I'd love to talk to you. We are just still looking for our first debate of the night. For whatever reason, we have people not from the U.S. and people under the age of 18. Yeah, we're having a little bit of a rough time here, ladies and gentlemen, but everyone just do be patient. Give us a minute to get our first debate of the night going. Guys, if you want to come up, make sure to spam MAGA in the chat. I'm inviting people that are spamming MAGA, but none of them are joining. Are you scared? Okay. I think they are. I think they are quite scared, guys. All right. Hey, what's going on, man? How old are you? Hocus pocus.
I was born in 1978. You do the math.
Okay, you're old enough. You're old enough, cowboy. So, are you voting for
cowboy?
Okay, cowboy. Are you are you voting for?
Yes, I'm voting for Donald J. Trump. Yes, I'm voting for Trump.
Why are you voting for Trump?
Because he's a better president.
How so?
Many reasons. Puts America first. Wants to protect the border. Huh?
Okay, yeah. How could Trump be putting America first when he's actively been undermining our democracy for the last?
I don't know, buddy. That's your opinion.
Wait, I mean, do you accept or reject Trump's claim that the 2020 election was sufficiently rigged to be overthrown?
I have strong suspicions that the election wasn't fair.
Okay, well, I mean, just to clarify here, the idea that the election was overthrown was disproven in 60 courts that Trump and his attorneys.
Yeah, I know. I know that's all part of the club.
Well, I mean, he elected 17 of those judges in those courts.
Yep,
so
I know. He also chose a lot of different people in his cabinet that didn't work out too. So. Okay,
so do you think that Trump drained the swamp?
No,
because he
was certainly trying. He was trying. But
wait, how is Trump trying to drain the swamp when you reject the idea that the 2020 election was sufficiently rigged to be or was not sufficiently rigged to be overthrown, meaning that Trump added to the swamp by electing those 17 corrupt judges that ruled against his case?
Well, he chose not wisely, I guess. People. He's only human, You ever make mistakes, Dean? How old are you, by the way?
Oh, I'm 19. Hey, no, you can't just pull
19.
the. You can't just pull the.
No, I'm not
quote-
pulling nothing. No, let's go back
I'm
to
gonna,
it.
I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go ahead and finish, sir. 1 second. You can't just pull quote unquote. He's only human. We only make mistakes when he's convinced tens of millions of American voters that the 2020 election was sufficiently rigged to be
hang on,
overthrown, instilling virtues of
let me tell
distrust
you
in our
something.
civil and electoral processes that undermine our democracy. You can't just say it's that's just a mistake, or like the grape case, or what are you gonna say?
Liable, but he wasn't held guilty. And you want to know something, Dean? I don't care about it. I don't care because one, he was a Democrat when that supposedly happened. Everything that was bad with grape and grabbing women and all that was when he was a Democrat. So maybe he's a better person now.
If he raped a child in the 1990s, would you still
He
vote
didn't
for him?
grape. He didn't grape a child.
Yeah,
You don't
but
know
you're
that.
saying
You
you
don't know
care
that.
about-
You don't know that for sure, though. You don't know that.
Hey, so you're saying that if you raped a woman, right, Eugene Carroll, you wouldn't care about it. I'm just asking you a similar question here. If it was supposedly proven that he raped a child in the 90s, would you still vote for him?
Well, hell no.
So you would care if he raped a child, but you wouldn't care if he raped a grown woman?
I want absolute proof of it. He wasn't found guilty. He was found
Yeah.
liable.
So
Liable.
being
People
held
have been found liable for things that they didn't do, buddy. There's people who's been
people have been
innocent.
held criminally guilty for things that they didn't do. So are you telling me that you would accept the conviction for rape if it was upheld in a criminal court of law?
If there was definitive proof and it wasn't a kangaroo court with liberal judges that hate his guts.
Well, if it was upheld in a criminal court of law, the jury would have to meet this threshold of, beyond a reasonable doubt. So, would you accept it if it was upheld? In
Well,
a criminal court of law?
sure, I would.
Okay, so
I
do you
would.
accept his 34 felonies for falsification
No,
of business records?
no, no.
But that was upheld in a criminal court of law.
A kangaroo court. Won't you
Okay.
and Parker? Won't you and your buddy Parker ever mention that? Won't you
I don't even know
mention
what
who
that
the
means.
judges were? Won't you mention that the judges and their wives and the family were saying we're going to get Trump? They put out numerous messages. So you and Parker, won't you say it like it is? Say, was that really a fair court, Dean? Was that a fair court system? No. And are you and Parker going to accept when it's thrown out, when it gets appealed and those charges are dropped? Are you going to accept that?
So, first point.
No, don't pivot. Are you going to accept it? Yes
So
or no? When it's thrown
responding-
out.
Hey, so you said three things there. I'm not pivoting. I'm just responding to all.
Okay,
three
well,
things
speak.
you
Go
said.
ahead. Yeah, I'm listening. Go ahead.
So about your first point, I asked you if you would accept the civil liability claim upheld that Trump had raped Eugene Carroll if it was proved within a within a criminal court of law. You said yes, but then as soon as I ask you if you accept the other felonies that he was proved of in a criminal court of law, you say no. So see, that is the hypocrisy within the contorted version of reality upheld by MAGA cultists. You don't know what the
Right.
fuck you're talking about, and you hold very
Dean, why are you
hypocritical
getting angry?
standards.
You're getting
Right? I'm not getting angry. You think because I use a cuss word I'm getting angry, right? This isn't 1964, okay? Anyways, just back to what I was saying. Yeah, it's absolutely so hypocritical for you to say that the reason you reject Trump's rape case is because it wasn't upheld in a criminal court of law, but as soon as we start referencing his felonies that were upheld in a criminal court of law, you still reject them, right? Like that sounds so stupid. Okay. Now, moving on to the second point about it being a quote unquote kangaroo court where we had the wives, the daughters of the judge saying that they're going to get Trump. All of that's bullshit. Provide me a source. You won't be able to. And then about your third point, well, I accept it if it's appealed. Sure, I'll accept it if it's appealed, but I don't think they have any grounds to appeal it. Can you go ahead and tell me the grounds that Trump's legal team has to appeal his 34 felonies?
I can just simply tell you, I guarantee you, and I'll bet you right now, $1,000. You want to bet it? that the convention they will be overturned.
Sure.
It'll be overturned. I
Can you tell me
guarantee
what? Can you tell me what grounds they have to appeal it on, though?
you. Because it's bull crap. That's the grounds.
How's it?
And
bullshit?
people
Can you tell me
know it
specifically
is.
how's bullcrap?
And you liberals just jump on it, man, and stick with it. And
So
you
what
never
were the
see
30?
it.
What were the 34 felonies for?
You tell me, Dean. I'm not on here to do Dean school.
Okay, so you don't know what he got convicted of, but you know he didn't do it. Explain that logic to me.
You want to move on to something with substance.
Yeah.
I know you're 19 and you laugh. You don't know how to carry on a regular time.
Oh, man.
I got it.
But you're coming after me for my age?
educated, but no experience. I got you.
A third of your age, 3 times as wise. What about that?
What do you want Biden to do?
What do I want Biden to do?
You support Biden. I'm assuming you support Joe Biden, right?
Yeah, so I'm voting for Biden because he's the lesser of two evils. He's not a rapist. He's not a felon. He's not a fraudster.
So,
he's not an election denier.
I know it's the same. I know Parker and you study the same script. Anyway,
we study the same script. No, we're just like acquainted with reality. We engage in critical
right.
thought.
Your reality.
Rational.
Your reality.
I mean, oh no, definitely no, the reality. So I'm just gonna keep it frank with you here, Mr. Hocus Pocus. Right?
You gonna be okay?
You mind if I
Mr.
speak?
Dean?
Hey, you mind if I speak?
Go ahead. You mind if I speak? Go ahead. Go ahead.
I'm just asking politely. Do I need
It's
to?
your platform.
Start?
It's your platform, sir.
Hey, sir, can you
go ahead?
Can you quit baby raging?
Baby raging. How many kids you got?
You're acting like
How many kids you got? How many kids you got?
I have 10 children.
No, really. How many children you got? Are you married?
I have 10 children.
You're lying like usual, but anyway.
No, I'm not lying. I've 10 kids.
Do you have any kids? Do you own a house? Do you own a house? How many bills you got?
How many bills? Many.
Okay, you're a liar.
I'm a liar, just like Trump. Just
What's
like
your
Trump, sir.
experience? What's your experience in life? What do you got? You still live at home with mom?
No, I've 10 kids and 3 houses.
Why are you lying? You can't speak. You don't want to answer.
No, of course I don't have any children, and of course I don't own a house. I rent my own apartment.
Oh.
Yeah. Hey, just real quick, I think it's hilarious when like super old.
I know older people, and they said
when super like old decrepit men such as yourself start baby raging because I'm intellectually dunking on you. The first thing you pivot to is my age, but you understand how like bad this makes you look, right? Because when you're getting dunked on by a literal fucking fetus, a 19-year-old boy like myself, right, that you have no respect for, that you want to point out the obvious fact that I have no life experience, it makes you look bad. Okay, right? Because you don't have facts, you are not acquainted with reality, you actively engage in delusion and you contort reality to fit your narrative. Okay, and the reason you're so upset right now is because I'm putting this wide on display for all 3.2 thousand people watching the live right now. Okay, like I just want to circle back to a question that I had that you obviously showed hypocrisy in your answer to. So I asked you about Trump's grape case, how he was held civilly liable for the sexual abuse of Eugene Carroll. You said you don't accept it because that was upheld in civil court, but you would have accepted it if that decision was upheld in a criminal court. So that tells me that you accept convictions from criminal courts. That is your standard of evidence to provide guilt for anyone. So then I ask you about the 34 felonies that Trump was upheld to have been guilty of in a criminal court, and you reject it. You didn't know what the felonies were. You said that they were going to appeal it, and you couldn't tell me the grounds that they had to appeal it. You are absolutely brainwashed. You buy into the narrative. You do not think for yourself. You're part of the MAGA hive mind, and it is absolutely atrociously embarrassing.
Are you going to be okay when Trump wins? Are you going to accept the election?
Will I accept the election? Yeah, like most likely.
I mean, you're going to be fine with it. You and Parker are going to be okay, like when Trump wins this election?
No, of course. I won't be fine with it. I'm going to be really sad if he wins the election.
No, he's going to win.
How do you know that Trump is going to win?
The same way I knew he was going to win in 2016. I just knew, just a feeling, just an instinct.
Okay, so like the same way that like people know the Earth is flat.
Well, there's some people who think that, buddy. I don't know. I don't know what that question has to do with it.
Yeah. Hey, real quick. How many continents are there?
I'm not here to do Dean and Parker school.
Okay. No, you don't. No clue how many continents there are.
No, I do, but I
Okay.
refuse to answer. I'm not. Let's talk politics.
Okay.
Let's not talk about Earth.
Yeah. Sure. So back to the civil case.
Do you think
of
it's
Trump being held-
flat? Do you think
No,
Earth's flat?
no. The Earth is round. So back to the civil case. Back to the civil case that you reject baselessly. You hold to the claim that Trump was held civilly liable for rape, sure, but you reject. You think it was bullshit. Can you name one piece of evidence that E. Jean Carroll and her attorneys provided to the court of law?
I didn't follow it that good.
Okay, well, if you can't name one evidence that they, submitted to the court to suggest that he raped her, how can you just throw out the ruling?
I don't believe that. I personally, okay, I didn't waste my time or energy to even pay attention to most of it because I know it's all politically driven bullcrap.
Well, how do you know it's politically driven?
Well, I don't know 1,000%. I don't know. It's just that's what I feel as an American.
Right, but you have no reason to feel this way.
While.
Right, but this is you have no reason to feel this way. You just simply do, right? In the same way I could feel that a unicorn sharded the universe into existence. That's obviously a delusion and I have no reason to feel this way. I just would. So, we need to engage in critical thought here, and we need to have well-reasoned beliefs, especially when we're referencing a victim of rape. Because when it's the case that you just deny it baselessly, without any good reason, without knowing a single piece of evidence provided to the court by herself or her attorneys, what you're doing is you're victim blaming and you're woman shaming, and it's absolutely abominable. It's gross.
No, I'm not
right?
woman shaming, buddy.
Of course you're woman shaming, because you're taking a victim.
No, I haven't.
You're taking a victim. That's
been married 23 years to the same woman.
Yeah, stop tokenizing your wife. You're taking a victim who didn't just
tokenizing my wife.
You're taking a victim who not just accused a man of raping her, but then proved it in court, and you're saying she's a liar and who's politically motivated without knowing jack fucking shit.
Save the breath.
No, I'm not gonna save the fucking breath, little bro. I'm gonna call it out as it is. You're a grown man baby. So you're not only taking a victim who claimed that a man raped her, but then proved it in court and brushing it off your shoulder. Shoulder, sorry. And I mean, what does this tell victim as a large? This tells victims that why would they even come out about the fact that they got raped when there's men like you and all of the other MAGA cultists who won't believe them, even if they spend hundreds of thousands of dollars and prove it in a court of law. Okay? This is detrimental to the safety of women, as this just further incentivizes men to go out and do bad things to women because they know at the end of the day they will still be accepted into their social circles just like Trump is.
You gonna keep muting me? I can stay quiet. I don't have to be muted.
Oh yeah, I don't want to keep muting you, but I will do so when necessary. If you're able to let me speak, of course I will not mute you.
Well, of course, I'll let you speak. I don't mean to overtalk you. I'm not trying to, be rude to you in any way. I just, as an American, I'm passionate about the country. I care about this country. I can tell you this, as a business owner, my business did the best it ever did during the Trump administration.
How did Trump cause your business to do better?
Tax cuts. He made it to where people, when in a business, that if they bought a piece of equipment, like a major price, a big priced item, that they could write it off 100% that same year instead of having to slowly write it off. That was one thing that was huge. That boosted my sales big time. I think he definitely raised the patriotism. It made the country feel good. On our side, us so-called cultists, even though Biden people are cultists. You call us a cult, you're a cult.
No, so one second. So the reason I call you a cultist is because you contort reality to fit your narrative, and you disregard facts, and you uphold
so does
feelings on
Biden's
a pedestal
supporters.
above facts. Okay,
Right,
no,
so
that's
does
bullshit.
Biden.
So what's one claim that I've made that has not been based upon facts, but rather just my
I
feelings?
don't know. I don't know, sir.
So how could you claim that? How could you claim that I contort reality? I disregard the facts when you can't even name a claim that I've made, which hasn't been grounded in fact.
I'm not sitting there playing memorized game.
I mean, it just seems like you can't substantiate your claims, which further
Are
proves
you
my
okay?
point. But real quick, I just wanted to talk about the Trump tax cuts because you said that this was a benefit for the American people. So 83% of these tax cuts went to the top 1%.
I know.
And it
Yep.
footed a bill of $1.9 trillion on the American taxpayer through debt-related spending, as well as there's projections from the Tax Policy Center that show that the 10-year lifespan of the bill will ultimately decrease the after-tax income for the middle class while increasing it for the top 1%. So it's taking money from poor people and giving it to the rich people. And you're saying that this was good for the American people, sir? No, this was bad. This was horrendous for the American people.
Was the jobs bad that was created from it?
How particularly did the Tax Cut and Jobs Act create jobs?
Because the company had more money to hire more people.
So you're referencing trickle-down economics here. So trickle-down economics are bad for the reason that we don't see an increase in worker wages with worker productivity when prior to the 1980s when it was introduced, we did. So it's actually very detrimental to the individuals working those jobs.
I was able to pay my employees way more money.
Okay, but on average, what we see is
And
that
that's
the
me.
average business owner under trickle-down economics, right, does not increase their workers' wages with worker productivity due to things like corporate greed. Okay, and this is a fact of trickle-down economics. This is what we've seen after the introduction of such, beginning in the 1980s. Worker wages remained relatively stagnant, while worker productivity kept increasing. When prior to the 1980s, we saw a 1-to-1 correlate.
Very true.
Very true, and that's detrimental to the American people, right?
They can be for big giant corporations. You know, I'm not a giant corporation, but I'm a employer who cares about my employees. But if other corporations could be like me, then it'd probably be a little better because my employees love me.
Okay, so
Love
not
them.
only do you agree
Take care
that
of 'em.
trickle-down, not only do you agree here that trickle-down economics negatively affect the average American worker, which was upheld from his tax policy, but it's also taking money from the bottom quintile as well as the middle class and giving it to the top 1% because of that reduction in the after-tax income. So it actually seems like we agree here. Okay, so that's not a good policy. Real quick, can you name one policy that Trump influenced to get passed that benefited the middle class more so than the top 1%?
Not off the top of my head, no.
Not off the top of your head. Can you name one policy that Biden influenced to get passed that you disagree with?
Nope. Biden
Okay.
is, hey, can I ask you something now? I'm not trying to pivot at all. If you think I am, then we'll stay on this subject.
Go for it, man.
I just have to ask because I know you support Biden. How you worry about Trump supposedly raping women and all this, but how can you sit and watch Biden literally sniff on kids? There's multiple videos. And
Kai, thank you for the $5
somehow-
on Venmo. Thank you for the love, Kai. Also, let's get some happy birthday Kais in the comment section. It's their 22nd birthday. Go ahead, man.
Happy birthday, Kai. How people who hate Trump so bad, they hate Trump more than they love the country. That's my opinion.
No.
That's my
I'm
opinion.
gonna go to put this out there. I hate Trump because I love the country. This man is a threat to the state of our country. Denying the 2020 election and instilling these virtues of distrust in our civil and electoral processes for tens of millions of American voters by not conceding to the loss of the 2020 election, which caused an insurrection. He was asking Mike Pence not to, validate the results of said election. That undermines our country 110% point blank period. It poses a threat to it. Additionally here, and what fucking circumstance would I want Mr. Trump, with his track record of blatant sexism, disrespect, and violence towards women and girls, sitting in the Oval Office with an expectation that he'll be able to effectively legislate for them when he has done anything but give any concern for their wants, needs, and thoughts in his history? Okay, no, I hate Trump because I love America,
Really?
and that's the fact, sir. But when we're
He's
particularly
employed a lot of women. He's employed a lot of women over the years. You kidding me?
So, you know what he's also done over the years? He said that he'll date a 10-year-old girl in 10 years. He likes to unconsensually grab women by the P word. He said he'd date his daughter if he wasn't his daughter. He said that he likes to walk into the changing rooms of half-naked teen girls at Miss Teen USA because he owns the place. I mean, he was held civilly liable for grape. The list goes on and on and on and on. He's shown
why he
absolute
was a
disrespect
Democrat.
towards
Why
women.
he was a Democrat, right?
I don't think that his political affiliation had anything to do with how grotesque he was, sir.
I know, man. I'm
Jeffrey
just
Dahmer was a
kidding.
Republican. Should we blame that on the RNC, sir?
I said I was just toying with you, man.
Beautiful. So he has a track record of blatant disrespect,
Is anybody
sexualization
going to be
towards girls,
perfect,
and
though?
violence towards women.
Have you ever heard of Tara Reid?
Yes. Before we talk about Tara Reid, you just said, is anyone going to be perfect? Sir, I haven't sexualized a fifth grader. I'm not perfect. I haven't
Trump
raped a
never
woman.
sexualized a
I'm
fifth
not
grader.
perfect. He did. He
Trump
said that
never
he dated.
never did that.
Yeah, he did.
He never said he raped a fifth grader or whatever you just said.
No, he said that he'd date a fifth grader in 10 years.
I know, and so does Biden. Looks at little girls and says, "What are you, 17? What are you, 18?" And it'll be a 9-year-old, and he sniffs on them and kisses them, and you can't deny it.
Wait.
cannot
Actually,
deny that.
so about this sniffing thing, yeah, I can't deny that he sniffed his grandmother.
Isn't it a
That was
little weird? His what?
Oh, it's
No,
a little.
many-
Hey,
many
it's a little.
girls.
Yes. Hey, so hocus pocus. Yes, it was a little weird when Biden sniffed his granddaughter's hair, but we're looking at the lesser of two evils here.
You
which
said
is worse,
granddaughter.
him
No, you're
sniffing his
pivoting.
granddaughter's
You-
hair,
you-
or
no,
Trump
no, no, no,
raping
no.
a woman.
No. You sit there and said Joe's only sniffed his granddaughter's hair. Tell the people
That's the only clip
truth
I've
here.
seen.
Tell the 3,500 people here the truth. Biden, there is multiple different girls from multiple different ages, even little boys that if he'd sniffed on my daughter like that or my son, I'd smack his face.
Okay, so I
And many parents agree with me on many parents. See, you're not a parent, so you don't know what it's like to love
Oh,
a
and I
child.
appreciate you for the Venmo.
And that's okay. You're young. You shouldn't even have any kids right now. I wouldn't.
Hey,
bring
I have a
kid
question.
up.
So why are you out of curiosity here, right? We do recognize that we're in a two-party state where we necessarily have to vote for one of these two candidates. The reason I'm voting for Biden in this particular respect is I think raping a woman is ultimately worse than sniffing someone's hair. I think that sexualizing a fifth grader by saying that he's going to be dating her in 10 years is ultimately worse than sniffing someone's hair. I think that walking into the change rooms of teen girls when they're half naked because he owns a place and boasting about it on SiriusXM is worse than that. And then if we want to reference their actions towards little girls, maybe we could reference Trump at one of his rallies where he called a little girl in the stands beautiful 10 times, invited her up on stage, grabbed her and kissed her while she was squirming away. No, see, Trump is ultimately worse, okay? And
No, that's
Shannon,
one
thank you
time.
so much for the $50 on Venmo. I appreciate you for the love, Shannon. Let's get a lot of W Shannons in the chat. Thank you for the $50 on Venmo.
Oh, good. Okay. Are you? I got a serious
Gagged.
question for you. Real serious.
Dude, you get fucking gagged, dude. No response. Okay. Ask away, sir. Abby, I appreciate you for that mustache. Ask the fuck away. I'm actually going to ask you one last question. You said if an old dude walked up to your daughter and sniffed her hair that you'd smack the shit out of him. If someone was running for president and they walked up to your 10-year-old daughter and said that they'd be dating her in 10 years, would you vote for them?
Yeah, I would, because he didn't mean that. He really wouldn't date her in 10 years.
But that's what he
know
said.
that, right? He may have said it, but I mean, come on. He really
Oh my
doesn't
god.
truly.
Oh my god. It was just a joke. It was just a joke. He didn't mean it. It was just a joke.
It
Be
wasn't a-
so fucking for real with me. So you were literally sitting here saying that, you would smack the shit out of Biden. You even tried to virtue signal to me saying because I don't have kids, I would never understand it. But then as soon as we reference an abhorrent statement made by Trump that was sexualizing a little girl, your claim is you don't care. It was just a joke. This is fucking hypocrisy, and it's honestly disturbing. You are normalizing the sexualization of little girls. You are rejecting the proven experiences of victims of rape, all to fit your narrative. You contort reality, and you disregard harm towards little girls and women, and then you turn around and you say, "Oh, Dean, you don't have a kid, you never get it," and you'd slap the shit out of Biden for sniffing their hair. Sir, this is gross. This is delusion.
You have a right to your opinion. Now, you ready to talk about Tara Reid?
Yeah, sure. Tara Reid,
Okay.
the woman who lied, perjured herself in court, then fled to Russia after accusing Biden of SA. I'm not going to take that as seriously as I'm going to take
He
Eugene
fled to
Carroll, the
Russia?
woman that held. Yes.
No, I
Eugene
never
Carroll,
heard-
the
I
woman that
never
held
heard
a
that one.
consistent story, then proved it in court.
Hey, well, so you're ignoring a woman. I got you.
No. I mean, if we add the context of I'm not taking the claims of a woman seriously that contradicted her own story, perjured herself in court, and fled to Russia, yeah, sure. I think that's fair.
She seemed pretty honest when she said about it, and her mom went on Larry King Live, and she even reported it, and nothing was done. You want to talk about Bill Clinton? I mean, that was a little before your time, but you know, he was a Democrat, and he.
Wait, I have a question. Do you accept Tara Reid's claims?
Do I accept her claims?
Yeah, do you think that Biden has
I think it should go to court to maybe see if there's any substance to it.
Yeah, but do you think it's more likely than not that Biden raped her?
I personally, I think that Biden probably did do something like that.
Okay, so how can you say that Biden probably did grape Tara Reid when all we have is her testimony in which she contradicted herself and perjured herself in court, then fled to Russia? But then you'll say it's not more likely than not that Trump raped E. Jean Carroll when we don't just have her testimony, but we have a unanimous decision from a jury after 2 years of deliberation in a court of law.
Yeah. I think it's all politically motivated, man.
I mean, how could you say that it's politically motivated in the context of Trump's grape case, but you can't say it's politically motivated in the context of terror?
Well, Biden's not being taken to court for stuff that happened years and years ago. Okay.
I mean, I think that we probably should, I'll say that victims who take their rapists to court, even if 20, 25 years later, are full within their right to do so, because 62% of women who get raped take it to the grave. And we shouldn't shame women or just victims in general who come out about these claims 20, 25 years after the fact because of the pressures that could be causing them to do so. Not only is that normal, but it's completely valid within the respect that it could be terrified to come out about these claims, and especially when they're about someone in such a great position of power such as Trump. She knew that she would lose her job, it would destroy her reputation, she'd be turned into a monolith of the left and just dehumanized by people on the right, and ultimately speaking, all those things happened, right? And if anything, I would like to give E. Jean Carroll a round of applause for coming out publicly about this particular claims and proving it in a court of law insofar as making the average American informed about the guy that Trump really is.
Yeah. How much money is Eugene getting out of that?
Oh, and I appreciate you for the $1 on Venmo. I think she's getting $4.2 million from the Greg case, and then she got a little over $100 million from the defamation case.
Heck yeah.
But I could be wrong about my numbers.
No, she did good.
Mm-hmm. Well, is there anything else that you want to...
Is she gonna hold her check up like Bill Clinton?
Is there anything else that you wanted to go over here?
Yeah. Do you think that Biden's going to stay in the race?
Do I think that Biden's going to stay in the race? Yeah.
Do you think Biden is mentally okay?
Do I think that Biden's mentally... I think that Biden's mentally okay. I definitely don't think that he's coherent enough to be running our country, but it is the case that Trump is less coherent.
You literally just said you think he's not coherent enough to run the country, but he's still better than Trump. Okay.
Because he's more coherent than Trump.
He can't... Okay. Did you watch the debate?
Yeah, I watched the debate.
And,
so a couple
Biden
things here.
wasn't very good, right?
Oh, yeah, no. Biden looked terrible.
Yeah.
I particularly say about the debate that Biden won on substance, right? But like Donald Trump was definitely speaking with more emotion, more conviction within his voice, and his message probably resonated better than Biden's with the American people, right? But a couple things here. When we're talking about coherency, I'd say that delusion, right, is a part of incoherency, and Trump is one of the most delusional fucking people on the planet. Denying the outcome. No, it's not my opinion. It's the objective fact. Denying the outcome of the 2020 election, right, and then instilling these virtues of distrust in tens of millions of American voters in our civil electoral processes. Fucking delusion. He was disproven by 60 courts of law, but he still went on. He was like, it was rigged. You stole it from me from the deep state. That is a fucking delusion. I'm not done, Pooks. Gotta just put it on mute. Quit the yapping while I'm still talking, right? And then also like mistaking, E. Jean Carroll for his ex-wife in the deposition in the court of law. Delusion. Okay, like upholding like these fringe deep state conspiracy theories of Biden manipulating the DOJ to persecute a political opponent with no evidence. Delusion. He is lost within his own fantasy realm that he constructed just so he could cope with losing. Trump is a sore loser, point blank, period. And you can't contest that if you watched his Twitter during the 2020 2020 election. When he loses, he literally just makes up a new fucking delusion to explain how he didn't actually lose and his win was rightfully stolen from him. That's why Trump is incoherent.
Do you ever watch? I'm going to take a wild guess here, but I bet you do not like Dinesh D'Souza, do you?
I don't know who?
I think I'm saying his name right. Dinesh D'Souza.
I don't know who that is.
Okay, so watch his show called the Mule, and it'll show you how the election was rigged.
Okay, well, can you give me any sufficient evidence to show that the election was sufficiently rigged to be overthrown? Could you just give me that evidence?
Well, I mean, just watch the Mule,
Okay.
and you tell me how come there's.
All right, we're going to move on to our next guest here, guys. If you're MAGA, make sure to let me know in that chat. We're going to get our next guest up in here, guys. And if you do want to support me, my Venmo and my PayPal are in my bio. I get 100% of the proceeds over those platforms in comparison to about 30% here on TikTok. You could also attach your name and amount in a message, and I'll shout you out on the stream. But in the meantime, guys, we're going to move on to our next guest here. If we're voting for Trump, make sure to just let me know in that comment section. But we're going to go ahead and try to load in our next guest in the meantime, guys. So everyone just give us a minute. We're going to go ahead and do a quick poll in the chat as well. Let me see a smiley face if you're voting for Biden and a sad face if you're riding with Dipey Don. What's up, Charcoal? Quite the fucking name. How old are you?
I'm 18.
You're 18. What year were you born in?
I was born in '06.
Why is your name Charcoal?
It's kind of a truck thing.
Oh, okay. Yeah, kind of a truck thing. Yes. So, are you voting for Dipey Don, sir?
I am voting for Donald Trump.
Okay, why so?
I mean, let's just talk about the obvious here. I'm not saying that Trump's perfect. We know Trump's not perfect, but I mean, as the American people, let's just talk about obvious, gas prices.
Oh, those have gone up. Sure. How did Biden cause the gas prices to go up?
Well, I mean, let's just see. When he was in office, when Trump was in office, they were cheaper, correct?
Yeah. But this doesn't mean that Biden caused them to go up. What you're committing right now is called a correlation causation fallacy. You're essentially saying that anything that happens while Biden is the sitting president is caused by Biden, and anything that happens while Trump, while he was the sitting president, was caused by him. India, thank you for that, a mustache. But we could use your logic here to show that Trump actually had one of the worst presidencies ever. He left office with a negative net loss in jobs and a record high unemployment rate since the Great Depression. Would you say that both of those two things were caused by Trump?
I mean, sure, yeah, he could have a role in that.
Okay, and then the 15 million jobs added back to the economy at the beginning of Biden's presidency, those things were caused by Biden?
Partly.
Okay, well, thank you for holding your logic consistent there. At this point, you should really be voting for Biden. Shit. Yeah, why are you voting for Trump with your logic here?
Well, I'm not saying I'm the most logical person. I'm just giving you the basics. I mean, let's talk about war. Let's talk about people dying. When Trump was in office, no one wants to see people die when Trump was in office. Was there any?
There's more American soldiers with boots on the ground that died under Trump's presidency than Biden's. We saw about 42 under Trump and about 26 under Biden, I think. Man, I appreciate you, Panther Boss.
That's just U.S., but what about all these other countries?
I mean, definitely.
Like Israel or.
Oh yeah, probably more people like dying under Biden insofar as like Israel's genocide of Palestine or Russia's invasion of Ukraine. But how could we say that these were caused by Biden?
Well, I mean, are we still? I mean, Trump.
Andy,
if he was in office, it would be over.
Yeah, could you give me any reason to believe that apart from your feelings?
From the proof of 4 years of 0 wars and 0 people dying.
Okay, so that's just a blatant lie. As I already clarified, there was 46 American soldiers with boots on the ground that died under his presidency, and there was wars. You pulled
under ISIS, finishing.
So there was there was wars under Trump. So he pulled out of Kurdistan, causing the Turkish-Kurdish war. We saw the Yemen genocide, and we saw a proxy war with Russia and Syria, as well as we saw a 450% increase in drone strikes in the Middle East.
Okay.
Right. So how do you know if like Trump was currently president that Israel wouldn't have committed a genocide on Palestine or Russia wouldn't have invaded Ukraine?
Well, I mean, Trump 100% backing Israel with proof showing that. Are you? I do have an extra. So, are you a firearm owner?
No, but could you? So what? So you're saying because Trump is more pro-Israel than Biden, that Israel wouldn't have genocided Palestine?
Well, no, I'm telling you that with Trump in office, there would be no war.
Okay, yes. Give me facts to substantiate this. All you've given me so far is your
In
feelings.
office, no war.
Okay, so you made that claim less than a minute ago, and I debunked it. So can you give me any facts to substantiate your feeling here? Also, you said that there's no wars about 2 minutes ago, and I gave you a response. What did I say?
You said that there was 4,600 something casualties.
4,600? Okay. Hey, brother, Cole, Charcoal, thanks for coming up. I'm moving on to the next guest. I'm not doing this shit today. Guys, please, okay? Listen, guys. Please. It is an early morning. I have a long time on the road tonight. Make my life easy. We're going to move on to our next guest here. Let's go to get Fred up in the box, ladies and gentlemen. If you're MAGA, make sure to let me know in that chat. We're going to try to pull someone up from the chat here. But yeah, guys, later tonight, here in about 4 hours, I'm going to be hitting the road. I'm moving out of my apartment, and it is such a big move. I got to drive 4 hours later today. What's up, Dinkle? How old are you?
I'm 18.
What year were you born in?
I was born in 2006.
Perfect. Are you voting for Dipey, Smelly, Poopy Don?
Yes, sir.
Okay, why so?
Well, I was watching his rally the other night, and I saw that someone tried to kill him. I saw that someone tried to off him, and I feel like that means he's doing something right if the Democratic Party is trying to off him like that. So, yeah, he's got my full support. And I saw him pumping his fist. Full support.
Yeah, so first of all, so the guy that tried to off him was a registered Republican. Second of all, the assassination attempt on his life didn't make... Because he said... Matter. Yes, it does. You literally just said that the Democratic Party tried to unalive him. But he also donated mentally ill Republican.
He also donated like $15 to the leftists, to Joe Biden's campaign, didn't he?
No, that's false. So what you're referencing is a screenshot of a donation by someone of the same name, but in the lack of a birth date on that receipt, I don't see any reason to believe that would particularly be the same person. Like, for instance, if you go on like public record, like white page websites, you could look up the name Thomas Crooks in Pennsylvania, and you will have hundreds of names pop up. So, I mean, I would accept that if we get a further verification, such as a birth date.
Okay, whatever.
Right, but then also here, another point that I wanted to touch on.
I'm still talking, all right? I also thought, what do you think Joe Biden would have done if he would have been pew-pewed at like that? Do you think he would have got up and pumped his fist? I don't think so. I think he would have stayed on the ground and cried like a little kid.
I actually probably agree with you. I think that Biden wouldn't have gotten up and pumped his fist, risked his life without the certain knowledge that there wasn't a second
because he's weak. Because he's weak.
Do you mind if I finish, man?
My bad.
No, because he's rational. Trump kind of sticking his head out with his fist and, risking his life for a photo shoot without the confirmation that there wasn't a second shooter. I mean, you could look at that as strong. I definitely will admit he kind of looked cool with the whole fist bump, but it definitely isn't what he should have done. Additionally here, right, I don't understand why this would be the determination for you voting for Trump. I mean, an attempted assassination on his life didn't make his policy better. It didn't make his character better. It didn't make him better fit to serve for the American people. It did nothing. All it did is it's ultimately going to boost his views and further his garnered support from people on the right, such as individuals as yourself. But I guess the question I'd ask you here is, if it was Biden who got shot instead of Trump, would you now be voting for Biden?
What? Can you hear me?
If Biden
Hello?
got shot instead of Trump, would you now be voting for Biden?
Can you hear me?
I can.
Okay. No, I wouldn't, because...
Okay, so then why is it the case that the particular reason you're voting for Trump is because he got shot instead of Biden?
Okay, I'm going to pivot right here. I also think the economy was 100 times better under Trump than it is under Biden because of the gas prices. I just got my driver's license a couple months ago, and I just looked at my bank statements. I spent almost $1,500 on gas since I've gotten my license, and I think that's just unbelievable.
How did Biden cause gas prices to go up?
He regulated the oil companies.
So we see more production of oil at home here in America today than we ever have in our history. There's more permits being approved for drilling. What regulations did he introduce?
Do you have a source for that? Do you have a source that we have more oil now than ever?
Yeah, 1 second. So this is particularly going to be coming from the U.S. Energy Information Administration. So it's straight from a government website. If you just look up U.S. oil production and click on the link from the U.S. Energy Information Administration, you could look at a graph chart of oil production in the U.S. We're at an all-time high right now.
Yeah, but how much of that was actually replenishing the oil reserve?
How much of that was replenishing the oil reserve? I don't know.
Yeah.
But regardless of how much of that was replenishing the oil reserve, this still disproves your point that you impose more regulations onto production here at home in the U.S. because we're producing more now than we ever have, as well as we're approving more permits for drillings now than we ever have. So if these regulations is what caused the increase in prices by decreasing supply, well, it is the case that we must necessarily see lower levels of oil production for it to impact that supply curve, but we don't. We see more.
Okay, I understand that, and I just want to make the claim that I don't believe that Trump inherited like all of the, because I know gas prices were a lot lower under Obama. I don't think he took credit for that. I think that his policies and his like less regulation on gas allowed us to import more from those big companies, and also that oil pipe that Joe Biden shut down. I also think that also has a big impact on the gas prices today.
Okay, so you're wrong. So the oil
No,
pipe,
I'm
quote
not.
unquote, that Biden shut down, it was called the Keystone XL. So first of all, that was because a court ordered Biden to shut it down. And second of all, it wasn't producing oil, so it didn't impact the global oil supply. So when Biden shut it down, it couldn't have driven prices up as it didn't cause a decrease within the global oil supply.
Okay. Well, at the end of the day, the fact is the gas is higher than it was under Trump, and I know you're going to say like, there was a pandemic that caused inflation to rise globally, but I don't believe that Joe Biden took any action whatsoever to get the prices back down to where they're actually affordable.
Yeah, he's literally approving more permits for drilling at home here in the context of the U.S. more than any sitting president ever has. So that's ultimately false. And actually, Trump took specific action to increase gas prices. At the end of his term, he went to OPEC and he was like, "We're going to withdraw our military from supporting y'all unless y'all decrease the oil supply, which would drive up prices." So your claim there is ultimately false. Then, if we use your logic here, well, at the end of the day, they were lower under Trump than Biden, so Biden caused them to be higher. You're essentially using a correlation causation fallacy here, which I could use that same logic to say, well, at the end of the day, because there was 15 million jobs added back to the economy under Biden and a negative net loss in jobs under Trump, that Biden is better for the economy, right?
Yeah. I've been watching you for a while. You're 19, right? And you live alone. I feel like I've heard you say that before.
I'm 19. I live with one roommate right now.
Okay. So you're paying rent right now. You don't have a mortgage, like a house.
Yeah.
So like, it's probably 100 times harder to buy a house now than it was in the past couple of years. And this is going back to the inflation that was caused by the pandemic. But how has Joe Biden done anything? I know he's fragile, and I just don't think he's done a lot to help, like, because I'm an adult. I'm going to have to be moving out soon, even if I choose to, because I'm not going to dorm in college. I'm going to have to get my own place, and I just know that the prices are skyrocketing, and he hasn't done anything I haven't seen anything, like, he hasn't done anything to fix it. Like, what is he doing?
Okay.
Trump is a businessman, dude.
So I mean,
Trump
first
is
of
a
all,
businessman.
so Daigle,
He's done good stuff. He has businesses.
So Daigle, real quick. So the reason you don't know what Biden has done for inflation just shows your political ignorance. He passed the Inflation Reduction Act to reduce inflation long term, as well as the U.S. has had one of the quickest rebounds from the global inflation onset by the pandemic. So ultimately speaking, he's done more than any other world leader. All right. Additionally, here, when you're referencing the idea that Trump is a businessman, thank you for the little crown. Well, yeah, can you name one other businessman with 6 bankruptcies? One other good businessman?
No, but I can't name one other good businessman with $7 billion in the bank, which, by the way, is more than Joe Biden.
More.
Because
Bill Gates, Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, they all have more.
Those men have never run for president before. It doesn't matter. Joe Biden is not a businessman, dude. He is not a businessman. He does not know what he's doing. Do you really think Joe Biden is in charge?
Deagle, I just want to go ahead and touch on that. So, I mean, I'd get it if you're like using the argument that Trump is a good businessman and this will reflect on his policy, but I don't see how that conveyed over to his policy. I mean, his policy served as a detriment to the middle class. His policy served as a detriment to the American people, all for the expense of the top 1%. Like, can you name a policy that influenced to get passed that benefited the middle class more so than rich people economically speaking?
You're talking about the top 1% more than the rest of them, right?
Name one policy that it influenced to get passed that benefited the middle class more so than the top 1%. Yeah.
What about the tax cuts that he did?
The tax cuts benefited the top 1% more. 83% of those went to the top 1%, and it footed a bill of $1.9 trillion on the American taxpayer through debt-related spending, which only led to an average annual GDP increase of 0.02%.
So you think that the rich should be taxed more than regular people? Why? Why?
Yeah, because they have a diminishing return value of the dollar, and they should pay their fair share insofar as it being a higher burden on those who are best off in comparison to those who are worse off. Like, if we just tax everyone the same static amount, like, this would overall, like, overwhelmingly serve as a detriment more to the individuals at the bottom in comparison to those at the top. Right? Like, the average American saves 2% of their income, while the average millionaire saves 20%. Right? Like, I'm going to value taxing the people who are making more money more, right? Even at the expense of, like, them not being able to buy an extra BMW every year. Because if we tax everyone the same and this serves as a detriment to the people at the bottom, well, the money that would be forsaken with them is money that would have to be spent on rent, food, electricity, necessary bills. Meanwhile, the extra money that we'd be taking from the richer people would be money that would have been spent on things like an extra yacht trip, an extra vacation, right? Or a BMW.
I understand that, and I understand taxing the 1% more so than the rest of the American population. But actually, you can look this up. Millionaires, or the top 1%, most of them aren't actual millionaires. The $1 million mark comes from their net worth, not how much they're bringing in on income. Most quote millionaires in America are in the middle class. So taxing them would not do anything. It would just have more taxes for the regular people like you and me.
No. The top 1% in America is individuals making over $476,000 a year.
That's wrong. That's not true, dude. It's their net worth.
What is the average income of an individual within the top 1%? And this is based upon income, not net worth. Like,
how does
taxation is based upon income. What?
That doesn't matter. Yeah, you're taxing the income. You're taxing their vehicle, their house.
Yeah, so the top 1%, like, to be considered like a part of the top 1% income-wise in the context of America, you have to be making over like $465,000 a year. That is what makes you considered a part of the top 1%. It's like literally called an income tax, not a net worth tax. Like, I'm so surprised I have to explain this to you.
All right, hey, watch it, dude.
No, you sound like, I'm so sorry, but you sound fucking silly referencing net worth when we're talking about income taxation.
That's how it works, dude. You can't tax the income when most of them are in the middle class. Most of them are in the middle class. It's based on net worth, dude.
No, it is not. You are wrong.
Okay.
What? Wait, no, you're joking, right? You think that income tax is based upon net worth or it's based upon income?
No, I'm saying the majority of millionaires are in the middle class.
Yes, a majority of people with a net worth over $1 million. How is this relevant towards income taxation?
If you would tax the top 1% is not in the middle class, so it doesn't do anything. It just raises taxes for the regular people.
Wait, raising taxes on the top 1% doesn't raise taxes on the middle class.
That's why it's so hard to get a house. Okay,
what the fuck are you saying?
Dude,
wait, no, we are not going to pivot off that point. No, wait, don't pivot off that point. Tell me how raising taxes on the top 1% would raise taxes on everyday people. Explain that one to me. I'm going to sit the fuck back. I'm just going to listen. Go ahead and explain that logic to me, sir.
Okay, you got me. Okay, all right, listen,
No
listen,
shit.
listen.
Corin, thank you so much for the $10 on Venmo. Let's get a lot of W Corins in that chat for the $10 on Venmo. Corin says, this poor dude. Wait, what, did you just mock my dono?
Yes, sir, I did.
Yeah, shut up, buddy. W Corins in the chat. No, I will not take that. I will not take that. I will not take that disrespect. W Corin in the chat for the $10 on Venmo. Thank you so much.
I want to talk about the E. Jean Carroll case.
Oh, yeah, let's do it. Do you think that Trump is a rapist?
No, I don't, and this is why. I know I've been on you and Parker's lives before, and you have someone that comes up, which is, I think she said she's related to E. Jean by marriage. Is that true?
Amber? Yeah, she's come up a lot before.
Okay, the reason that I don't believe it's true is because the case is coming to light now and is so popular now because he's already been president. You can say, yeah, most people who get raped don't come out because it's traumatic, but the fact is she came out about this whenever he was going to be president, when he was president, and when he's running for president now. And that makes her look fucking terrible because it's like, oh, she's only bringing this case against him because he's running for president now. She's a millionaire, dude. She's a millionaire. She was a millionaire.
How do you know that the only
raped?
How do you know that the only reason she's bringing this case against Trump is because he was president?
Because that's how it looks. That's how it looks to the average
I know,
voter.
but could you give me like?
I'm
I'm asking you for your reason here.
Because why would she talk about it now that he's running for president and not say 3 months after it happened? Why? Why would she not do that? This is probably the worst time she would bring this case against Trump because he's running for president. And myself and most people, and I'm out of Arkansas, by the way, and I've asked people, hey, what do you think about this E. Jean Carroll case? And they're like, oh, I think it's a load of horse shit because it's coming out now while he's running for president. There have been so many cases where people frame others because the people that they're framing are better off than them, and they know that they're going to get money from that case, dude.
What year did E. Jean Carroll start pursuing litigation?
I know that she claims that the grape was in '96.
What year did these court cases start?
I think it was sometime before the 2016 election, like a couple of months. Is that true?
2019. Fucking hell.
So that's even worse.
I am so fucking fed up with you grape apologists. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and fill you in on the facts here, little boy. Right? So you have no facts, you only have your feelings. You're sitting on my live right now, woman shaming and victim blaming because it doesn't fit your fucking narrative. You were over here saying that this woman who waited 23 years to come out about her grape, when the average victim of grape, 62% of them never come out about it in their lifetime, is a liar. You have absolutely no reason to believe this. The only reason you reject it is because it doesn't fit your narrative. If Trump isn't the perfect man, if Trump isn't the chosen one, you are willing to go to any extent to deny, and it is fucking gross. So I just want to go ahead and fill you in on a couple facts here. So the reason she came out in 2019 is prior to 2019, the statute of limitation, thank you so much, Sonia, for the money gun, insofar as what could and couldn't be considered viable for like a civil court in this context, sexual abuse, was changed. So she could pursue civil charges. Then for the money gun, I appreciate you for the love. So she could pursue civil charges. The Adult Survivor Act, sir. Then additionally here, I just want to go ahead and ask you if you can name one piece of evidence supplied by E. Jean Carroll to the court of law. Can you go ahead and do that for me, Dinkelman?
I know that she submitted a dress and her therapist notes from 1996.
The dress was never submitted in court, sir. And you want to know why the reason it was never submitted in court?
I know the case. The therapist notes were submitted. That doesn't mean anything.
The therapist notes were submitted. And you want to know why the dress wasn't submitted? You want to know why the dress wasn't submitted? It's because Trump wouldn't supply his DNA. Indy, I appreciate you for the travel. I'm going to go ahead and ask you a question. There was so many good reasons for Trump to supply his DNA, assuming his innocence. He would have saved hundreds of millions of dollars in the defamation suits. He would have been able to countersue E. Jean Carroll for hundreds of millions of dollars. He would have been able to use this innocent conviction to prove to all the MAGA cultists that the deep state was just attacking a political opponent, and he would have been able to scapegoat all the negative PR from being labeled a rapist. So can you go ahead and name one good reason for him not to supply his DNA to the court of law, assuming his innocence? Or are you just going to be a silly little boy pandering to the far right, pandering to Daddy Trump, and contorting reality at the expense of victims and women?
Dean, let me tell you, dude, he does not have to give his DNA over.
Name
whatsoever.
one
It is
good
innocent
reason.
until proven guilty.
Zoe,
you
I
guys are
appreciate
talking
you for the
about,
money
oh,
gun.
he's already guilty. He's already guilty. He did it. He did it. She said he did it in 1996. It's innocent until proven guilty. You want him to supply evidence that proves that he's innocent instead of E.G. and Carol supplying evidence that proves that he's guilty. And all she got is a couple of therapist notes that doesn't make any sense. You try to frame him because he's better than you. He's better than your pile of crap president that you got right now that's broken down,
calm
that's
down, buddy.
stuttering constantly. He's better than you. He's better than Biden. Older millennial is better than you, and older millennial is better than Biden. These guys are smart. He's a businessman. Joe Biden is not a businessman. He's a politician. He's a corrupt politician that has no business experience whatsoever. And everyone around him's like, oh, Joe, you should run for president. You got it. And then you know what ends up happening, Dean? He ends up getting walked off the debate stage by his wife because he can't do it himself. And his wife talks to him like he's a fucking toddler. That's who's leading America right now. That's you. That's who you're voting for. You're voting to get him back in office instead of Donald Trump because it's, oh, he raped someone and there's a little bit of proof. And you keep talking about how he's a child MM. He's not, all right? You bring up this case, oh, he kept calling a girl in the stands beautiful, and kissing her while she's wiggling away. That's not what happened if you would watch the video. He said, oh, she's beautiful, bring her up here. And everyone in the stands was fucking clapping because that's what presidents do. Presidents don't stand over Presidents don't stand over their supporters and grab their
Joey, thank you for the $15 on Venmo. I really appreciate you for the love, Joey. Thank you for the
Shout out the donos, yeah.
Thank you for the love on Venmo, Joey.
You tried to off him.
W, Joey, thank you for the love.
You tried to off him. You tried to off him and it didn't work. This is I know you hate Andrew Tate, but he is right in this scenario. You try to cancel him, that doesn't work. You try to put him in jail, that doesn't work. And then you try to off him, and when that doesn't work, you know you
Stephen,
fucking
I
lost.
appreciate you for the dollar.
You've lost, Dean. You've lost the
love.
election. You're trash. You're scumbag, and you don't deserve the college degree that you're earning right now. You don't deserve it. It has to be taken from you. You, Dean, Parker, all of them. These guys are responsible for what happened because the guy who you claim is a Republican shot or pew-pewed at the president, you claim is a Republican. How much I am willing to bet my entire paycheck that he has stumbled across either you, Parker's, Chris, or Harry's lives and been like, hey, you know what? He's kind of right. Maybe I should try to off him because he's a rapist. Because
Jay, I appreciate you
insufficient evidence of why I should off this man. It's not true. You're the reason there was a pew-pewing. It's you.
Jack, thank you so much for the $5. Thank you so much for the love, Jack. W Jack in the comment section for the $5 on Venmo.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, Dean. All right. We talk about why Joe Biden's presidency is failing. You don't do that. You say, oh, he supposedly did this thing in 1996 that disavows him now. No, you don't talk about his presidency. You talk about the things that he's done in his private life. And that's why you shouldn't vote for him. People like older millennial, the smart people, talk about why Joe Biden's presidency has failed. You don't
buddy.
talk about that.
Do you mind if I hop
talk
in
about
here?
his personal life.
Hey, buddy.
You're terrible. You're a terrible person.
Pookie, this isn't you. Pookie, calm down. This isn't you, Pooks.
I'm better than you, Dean.
Hey, real quick. You said that OM is a good, smart guy?
Yes, he's a good, smart guy. And yeah.
Okay. Hey, real quick. I'm gonna play. Hey, real quick, Pookie.
Guess what?
Hey, real
he was
quick,
wasted.
Pookie.
He was
Hey,
wasted
real quick.
on TikTok
Hey,
Live
Pookie,
instead of
Pookie,
wearing a tux
Pookie.
like you do.
Hey,
Older millennial
Pookie.
doesn't wear a tux to TikTok Live.
Ethan,
Dean.
thank you so
That's
much for the $5 on Venmo.
you.
Thank you for the love, Ethan. W Ethan in the chat. Hey, real quick, Pookie. Go ahead and listen to what older millennial said about me the other night.
All right, let's hear it. I watched that, bro. You were wearing a fucking tux.
Shut up.
But I'm gonna be real. If I was gay, Dean would be a target. That man is pretty as hell. That man showed up.
There you go. The poll's there.
He was wasted.
That man showed up to the live in a red room. That man showed up to the live in a red room with sunglasses and an open collar. I was like, girl, please.
Yo, he was on his live the other day. He was a cholo, bro. He had the Tupac.
So this guy that said if he was attracted to men, he would grape me is a good, smart guy.
Yes, dude, he's good and smart. He's wasted then. He's wasted every night on TikTok Live because he has better things to do and support Trump than going on TikTok and talking.
Melissa, thank you for the $25 on Venmo. I really appreciate you for the love, Melissa. We're going to shut this yapper up to thank you, Melissa, for the $25 on Venmo real quick. Y'all, please, let's get some massive W Melissas in that chat for the $25 on Venmo. Thank you for the love, Melissa.
All right, let me calm down. Joe Biden cannot sustain another 4 years, Dean. Like I've said.
Hey, real quick, I have another clip of OMs to play here.
No, dude, you're pivoting. You're pivoting.
No, I'm actually staying on topic.
You can't do this, dude. You can't do this. Joe Biden is not fit for presidency. He's being walked off the stage by his wife. That's not right. And you can be like, oh, you're just making fun of his stutter. I'm not making fun of his stutter, dude. It's a problem, all right? He's done it so many times. He did it when he was addressing the nation.
Shelly, thank you so much for the $10 on PayPal. Thank you so much for the love, Shelly. W Shelly in the chat for the $10 on PayPal. Thank you for the love. Okay,
He didn't have a stutter. I'll give it.
I'm going to go ahead and respond to your claims real quick. Also, the ableism about the stutter, I just recommend dropping it. That's only going to be bad for you. So yeah, when we're particularly referencing Biden, well, actually, no, let's reference Trump real quick. You said that Trump is innocent until proven guilty. That's a big fat lie, and you know it because he was proven guilty, and you still think he's innocent. I think it's incredibly hypocritical and honestly, like, kinda idiotic of you to come up here, try to virtue signal using these slogans, innocent until proven guilty, when he was proven guilty and you don't fucking accept it. Like, do you know how idiotic that makes you fucking seem? Come the fuck on, Dankelman. Okay. Additionally here, when we're referencing Biden's stutter, when we're referencing Biden's incoherence, first of all, a stutter isn't incoherence, right? A stutter is a form of, a stutter is something that individuals are born with. They can't control. They could work on it. They can improve through therapy, but it doesn't infect cognition. Okay, and that's what's relevant here. But when we're referencing his incoherence, yeah, dude, I'm going to take the old man with a good policy that cares about the American people, cares about our democracy, over the old man with the shit policy that was held civilly liable for rape that wants to undermine our democracy. There's no fucking comparison to be made here. Sure, Biden has a stutter. Trump has a grape case. What's the fucking comparison to be made? It is absolutely gross when you come up here and you go on this monologue about how bad Biden is for our country when Trump is actively working to undermine it. It is so gross when you come up here and you monologue about how Biden is incoherent when Trump has been telling nothing other than lies, and he's been diluting his version of reality because he hates it when he loses for the last 4 years, instilling virtues of distrust in our electoral and civil processes in tens of millions of American voters, right? If Trump was a strong leader, if Trump was a good leader at that, then we wouldn't see this man baby raging when he loses power. Good leaders don't grape women. Good leaders aren't narcissistic, don't only care about themselves to the extent of gaining a cult-like following to live out their legacy, but they rather care about the constituents of their nation, and they don't put the wants, needs, and desires of the top 1% on a higher pedestal at the sake of the lives of the average working class Americans. No, this man has you fooled, point blank, period. And it would be evidently clear that this man had you fooled if we had a better candidate than Biden. But because we have an old man that is a little bit incoherent at times, that is all you latch onto. And it is gross. But once again, we should all take the old man with a good policy over the delusional old man with the shit policy with a grape case under their belt. And there was one other thing that I wanted to talk on. So I particularly referenced, right, the clip of Trump, calling a little girl girl in the stands beautiful 10 times, inviting her up on stage, then kissing her and grabbing her while she squirmed away. You said that's something that good leaders do, but then as soon as we start talking about Biden and him sniffing his granddaughter's hair, all of a sudden he's a P3DO. Hypocritical, double standard, and I wouldn't expect anything different from the mind of such a deluded young man such as yourself. You are engaging in tinfoil hat syndrome. You are not thinking for yourself. You disregard critical thought. You're engaging in mob mentality. You don't care about the truth. All that you care about is your emotions, and you contort reality to fit them. Point blank, period. Mic drop. Dean bumped. And Jack, thank you for the $5 on Venmo.
I understand, and I'm not making fun of his stutter. I realize that that's just naturally what happens.
Kim, thank you for the $20 on Venmo. I appreciate you for the love, Kim. And Tara, thank you for the shut up. And Tara, thank you for the $10 on Venmo. W Kim for the $20. Tara for the $10. Thank you guys so much for the
You know
love.
what's going to happen if he does not make it through the 4 years of his next presidency? If, and that's a big if, Dean, if he wins, you know who's going to be president? Kamala Harris. She is not good. She has not done anything her vice presidency.
Tessa, thank you so much for the $25 on Venmo. Thank you so much for the love, Tessa. Let's get some W Tessas in that chat for the $25 on Venmo. Thank you so much for the love, Tessa. Go ahead and continue. Sorry for interrupting you.
You say that, all right, I said Biden is a walking corpse. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying it's his fault. I'm not saying he's choosing to do that. I'm saying that's what's natural. That's what's happened. He is in his late 80s now, Dean. He is in his late 80s. He should not be the president.
He's 81, motherfucker, and Trump is 78. What are you yapping about?
You're gonna be like, oh, you sound just like James Charles screaming about the president. I don't affiliate with James Charles, right? If he doesn't make it through his 4 years, if he wins his next election, you know who's going to be president? Kamala Harris, a woman that hasn't done jack shit her whole vice presidency. That's who you're voting for. You are not voting for Joe Biden. You are voting for Kamala Harris. That's who you're voting for. Someone who hasn't done anything. And you talk about good leaders. Good leaders are not old, broken down piles of crap that don't do anything. What has he done? He's just clowned Trump for his, all right, quote, bad golfing. They were talking about golfing at the debate. That's how far off he is.
Hey, sir. Hey, 1 second. So, yeah, you're saying that Kamala Harris hasn't done jack shit. Can you name one influency that Mike Pence, got passed in Congress while he was vice president?
No, I can't.
No? Okay, sounds good. Then another point here, you're saying that you're not voting for Biden, you're voting for Kamala. Do you have any facts to justify this, or is this just how you feel? You could be honest if this is just how you feel.
Just look at. Are we looking
it's
at
just,
the same president?
It's just how you feel.
Are we looking at the same president?
Yes. Yes. Thank you for like being honest about the fact that you don't have any facts for this. You're just kind of looking and observing. The same people that would look and observe that the Earth was flat, 100 years ago. Sounds good. All right, sounds good. And then another point here, you're saying if you're voting for Biden, you're voting for a walking corpse. If you're voting for Trump, you're voting for a threat to our democracy. You're voting for a rapist. You're voting for a sexist. You're voting for a horribly decrepit old man who consistently engages in delusion and poses a threat to our country. What's worse, a walking corpse or a rapist? What's worse, a walking corpse or a threat to our democracy? What's worse, a walking corpse or a man that will lie about not being behind Project 2025, which will ultimately serve to further disenfranchise already marginalized communities in the context of America? What's worse, a walking corpse or a dictator on day one? You go ahead and tell me.
You keep saying that he's a dictator, like he's like that mustache man from Jim. He does not.
No, that's what Trump said.
You take that out of context and you talk about.
He said he was going to be a dictator on day one.
You talk about January 6th undermining.
Wait, don't pivot. Don't.
I'm not pivoting.
Pivot.
You're saying he's a.
Ashley, 1 second. Shut up, buddy. Ashley, thank you so much for the $20 on Venmo. I really appreciate you for the $20, y'all. Please, guys, show some love to Ashley in the chat. She says your patience is admirable. I'm really trying. Thank you for the $20, Ashley. Go ahead.
You're saying he's a dictator trying to undermine the democracy. He's not. All right. If he was voted into presidency from 2016 to 2020 and everything was fine, all right? I was actually excited for him to get reelected because those would be my adult years. It's so much worse under Joe Biden. And you can't blame it on the pandemic because he didn't do anything to combat the pandemic. He was just like, oh, I guess that's how it is now. I guess gas prices are higher. I guess it's impossible to buy a house for the older generation. He doesn't care. He doesn't know what he's doing. How are you behind this guy?
So that's a big fat lie. So
no,
I'll
it's not.
Hey, it is. So he's approved more drilling permits to produce oil at home here in America than any president ever. And currently, right now, the U.S. is producing more oil than any other country in the world that currently exists or that has ever existed. And he also passed the Inflation Reduction Act to decrease inflation long term, as well as that the U.S. has had the quickest rebound from the global inflation that was a result of the pandemic out of any country in the world. When you say that Biden didn't do anything, it's not because Biden didn't do anything. It's just because you are ignorant to what Biden did do. And this is why I host these lives, bro. It's because I want to inspire you and the other 5.3 thousand people currently in the live right now to engage in critical thought, become politically competent, so we can cast these valid votes in the ballot box in November, right? But I want to ask you a question. You're saying that Donald Trump isn't a threat to democracy.
No,
I'm going to go ahead and mute my mic. I'm going to go ahead and sit back, and I want you to explain to me how denying the outcome of the... Hey, Dinkle, I want you to explain to me how Trump denying the outcome of the 2020 election with literally no reason to do so, okay, being proven wrong in 60 courts of law, is not a threat to our democracy. He tried to stay in the Oval Office, he tried to get his vice president to not certify the results of the 2020 election, and he inspired an insurrection upon the Capitol until to this very day he has not conceded the results of the 2020 election. A democracy is a way that we as a collective make decisions. Okay? And when Trump decided that our decision was incorrect insofar as who we voted for in 2020, that undermined the democracy because he valued his own word over the word of the hundreds of millions of American citizens who cast their vote in the ballot box. Explain to me how that wasn't a threat to our democracy.
America has never had mail-in voting before. Is that correct? This is one of the first times. Mail-in voting, when people aren't allowed to go outside, is fucking terrible. Because guess what? Pictures and videos leak of people taking Trump ballots and throwing them in the trash. Have you seen that? It's gone viral, dude. Are you serious? Mm-hmm. Of course, Trump would be like, "Hey, it's not fair," because he's competitive. He's a competitive businessman. He's not an old, broken down pile of crap. So we've had two wars in Europe.
So we've had mail-in voting for decades. Trump voted by mail-in voting. The soldiers overseas voted by mail-in voting. It's also the case that Trump brought his evidence for the 2020 election being sufficiently rigged to be overthrown to 60 courts. All of them rejected his case on the basis of no evidence, including 17 courts with judges that he appointed. So I just wanted to clear up the misinformation there. You said that Biden caused 2 wars overseas. Go ahead and explain to me how Biden caused Russia's invasion of Ukraine when it's true that they annexed Crimea, starting their push towards Ukraine in 2014. Tell me how Biden caused that.
Biden did not go over to Russia and meet with Putin face to face like Donald Trump did. So Putin decided he's allowed to play Biden like a violin and say, "I'm going to invade Ukraine because I know that old broken down pack of shit is not going to do anything about it besides send Ukraine, not soldiers, mind you, not send Ukraine soldiers, send them weapons for themselves to figure out. And also, I'm going to pull out of."
Do you know what the Budapest Memorandum is?
Yes, I know the Budapest Memorandum. We have an obligation to defend Ukraine. I understand that.
So that explains why we're sending money and weapons overseas. And you're also saying the reason that Biden caused Russia's invasion of Ukraine is because Putin knew that Biden wouldn't do anything about it? Well, you're actually directly contradicting that statement when you follow that statement up with a further statement that Biden is doing something about it by sending billions of dollars of weapons and funding to Ukraine.
I understand that, but it shouldn't have been that way at all because Biden should have been like, Putin, if you do it, you're getting bombed. That's what he should have been. It's not supposed.
Wait.
It's not
If
supposed to be a. All right, if you do this, I'm gonna do it. It should have been, don't do it because you're gonna get offed if you do it. Biden was like, I'm gonna wait for Putin to invade before I do something about it. It should have been, I should do something to Putin before he invades Ukraine. That's how it's done. I should have.
Brother, what, you think that we should have dropped a fucking nuke on Ukraine before they?
That's not what I said.
Nuke on
I
Russia
said we should
before
have
they
done
invaded
something about
Ukraine?
Putin before he invaded Ukraine.
Like
we
what
should have done something
particularly?
about Putin before
Like what
he invaded
specifically?
Ukraine.
What
and we should have
specifically?
pulled
What specifically should we have done? And can you give me any evidence to believe that if Trump was president, he would have done it?
stronger back support for Ukraine. So if
stronger support for
stronger back
Ukraine.
support, not just
Trump wants less support for Ukraine. Trump disagrees with funding for Ukraine. This is why he
because
had
the war shouldn't have
Republican-
happened at all.
Okay, well, I mean, how could you say in one breath that Trump would be better for Russia's invasion of Ukraine, while in another breath saying that what we should have done was stronger support for Ukraine, when it is the case that Trump shot down one of the first border bills through the Congress for the reason that included additional funding for Ukraine, right? Trump wants less support for Ukraine, not more.
Trump wants less support for Ukraine and more more restraints put on Russia, which is the bigger threat besides defending Ukraine. The best offense.
Okay, honestly, man,
or
hey,
the best
Dinko,
defense
I'm just gonna go ahead and
offense
ask you one last question. Right now, what you're doing is called fear mongering. You're just screaming at the top of your voice, like giving us your feelings. I want you to go ahead and give me facts to prove that if Trump was in office, Russia wouldn't have invaded Ukraine. When you ultimately fail to do this, I'm gonna move on to the next guest because you're honestly kind of annoying me at this point.
There were no wars under Trump's administration. You
so
can
that's
talk
a flat
about
out lie. So there's a Turkish-Kurdish war.
No, it's not.
Yes,
You
there
can
was
say
a
there was
Turkish-Kurdish war.
bombing. You
There was
can
a
say there
Turkish
was bombing, but
there was
there was
the
no war.
there was the Turkish-Kurdish war under Trump's presidency that was caused by our pull out of Kurdistan. We also had a proxy war with Russia and Syria. We had the Yemen genocide and a 450% increase in drone strikes in the Middle East.
That's not on the same scale as Russia invading a NATO member, Ukraine. That's nowhere near the same scale.
You could say that these two things are particularly on different scales, which I would agree with. However, it is the case that this is still war. So when you say that there's no wars under Trump's presidency, you're wrong. War is war, and there was a Turkish-Kurdish war. There was a proxy war in Syria with Russia. There was.
I understand that.
Genocide.
I understand that, but I also firmly believe that if Donald Trump were to be reelected, there would be no war in Ukraine. We would still have a strong force.
I asked you for the facts to defend that perspective.
Yes.
Give me the facts.
There was no Russia-Ukraine invasion under Trump's presidency. That's fact, right? Am I
so you're
wrong?
you're saying because it didn't happen under his first term, it wouldn't have happened under his second term. So what this is called a correlation causation fallacy. Wait, I have a question.
It's not. That's common sense. That's fact.
Did Russia invade Ukraine under Obama's presidency?
No, because
if Obama was able to run for a third term and won in 2020, would Russia have invaded Ukraine still?
No, he wouldn't have.
Okay, so just to make sure, if something didn't happen under his first term, it wouldn't have happened under his second term. Really?
Yes.
Okay, so we didn't see a reduction of gasoline prices during Trump's first term. So if Trump were to be reelected in 2020, would you say that we wouldn't have seen a reduction in gasoline prices there either?
What about the pullout of Afghanistan?
No, answer my question. And no. Pivot.
I'm going to pull up.
So we haven't spoke on the pullout of Afghanistan this entire live. I'm right now countering your logic with a counterexample that shows it to be absurd, right? Don't pivot to the pullout of Afghanistan, particularly answer my first question. No. I asked you a question. You said if something doesn't happen under Trump's first term, it wouldn't have happened under the second. So under Trump's first term, we didn't see a reduction in gasoline prices, okay? They were lowest the day he went into office and the highest until the pandemic hit, okay? So the question I'm asking you, would this mean that we wouldn't see a reduction and gasoline prices if Trump would have been reelected in 2020?
Innocent soldiers that died in Afghanistan was because of
Dinkelman, do you recognize that there's a pivot?
If I'm pivoting, it's a good point.
Dinkelman, answer my so the reason that you're pivoting right now is because you know that your logic ultimately fails here, right? Go ahead and respond to my logic, or I'm gonna kick you, right? Like I think it's blatantly obvious to everyone now, even the Trump supporters in the live, that you are unwilling to engage with my logic here because you recognize that you're in the wrong. Okay, so either recognize you're in the wrong and concede or offer me a rebuttal on this point. What I'm not going to play is these silly little pedantic games with a fucking toddler such as yourself and allow you to control the conversation and completely pivot away from my points because you don't have a response. So go ahead and actually grant my position here a response, or I'm going to move on to the next guest.
I understand that. And yes, I believe that there would have been no more wars if Trump had.
Just to clarify, I didn't ask you about wars. I'm using your logic against you.
I know. I'm talking about. You're saying if it wouldn't have happened under the first term, it wouldn't have happened under the second. Yes. I totally agree. And I know gas.
So we didn't see a reduction in gas prices under Trump's first term. So does this mean that we wouldn't have seen a reduction in gas prices
because of the pandemic
under Trump's second?
Yes, I understand that they would naturally fluctuate because of the pandemic. I understand that, but
so we wouldn't see a reduction in gasoline prices of Trump.
A stronger effort than Joe Biden to lower the gas prices, not close the pipeline, and I strongly believe that he would have done more than Joe Biden has done.
Okay, so you'd say that we still would have seen a reduction in the gas prices if Trump was reelected in 2020. So you'd say even if something didn't happen under Trump's first term, it could have happened under Trump's second term. So this absolutely disavows your logic that because Russia didn't invade Ukraine during Trump's first term, they wouldn't have invaded Ukraine in his second term either.
Yes, absolutely.
That directly contradicts your logic there.
No, it doesn't.
Okay, it does, because once again, you're saying if something, okay, so your original logic was if it didn't happen during the first term, it wouldn't have happened during the second, but then you contradicted this logic when you said, well, gas prices didn't decrease during Trump's first term, yet they would have decreased during his second term if he was reelected.
No. I'm saying they would have ultimately increased during his second term because of the pandemic that happened. Do you remember that?
We wouldn't have seen a decrease in the prices of gasoline?
No, we wouldn't have. No, that's a stupid point. I'm sorry if I made that. That's a stupid point. I'm sorry if I made that.
I really appreciate you for the money gun.
The prices would have ultimately gone.
Purdy, I really appreciate you for the money gun. Thank you so much for the love. We're going to move on to our next guest here. Thank you so much for the love, Purdy. Let's get some W Purdy's in that chat. Thank you so much for the money gun. And Teresa, thank you so much for the $20.24 on Venmo. Thank you so much for the love, Teresa. Let's get some W Teresas in that chat. Thank you so much for the love, everyone. Please, let's get some W Teresas, guys. And if you're MAGA and you want to come up here and talk to me, have a little bit of chat, have a debate, make sure to let me know in that chat, guys. Also, do double tap on that phone screen. Do share out this live with a couple friends here today. W Teresa's in the chat all day, every day. And BDO, thank you for the driving Daisy. Thank you for the love. We're going to move on to our next guest here. Let me see a MAGA in the chat if you want to, come up and have a debate. We're going to go and try to get our next guest up in here. Let's try to get Fender up in the live, y'all. All right, moving on. Everyone just be patient. Let's try to get Anthony to load in here. Additionally, y'all, if you do want to support me, my Venmo as well as my PayPal are in the bio. I get 100% of the proceeds on those platforms. I also posted a great video on my main account down there in the bottom right-hand corner of me tricking a MAGA loyalist and them getting really mad and calling me a communist. Then I asked them to define it, and they couldn't, and they baby raged. But yeah, let's try to move on to our next guest here, y'all. We've been live here for about 1 hour and 30 minutes now. We're probably going to go for about 4 hours today. So let's go and get our next guest up in here. In the meantime, guys, everyone do just give us a minute here. We're going to try to load in our next guest on. So everyone just kind of give us a minute, y'all. All right, we are having some issues loading our next guest in. That's all right. Everyone just be patient. Hey, what's up, Lucas? Howdy, man. Lucas, are you here? All right, Lucas is not here. We're going to move on to our next guest. Let's try to get Owen Payne up in the live, y'all. What's up, Owen? How old are you?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, sure can, man. How old are you?
Hey, I'm 24.
You're 24. Awesome. Are you voting for Diaper Poopy Smelly Dawn?
Yeah, but that's not really what I wanted to talk to you about, if that's cool.
I mean, sorry, Owen. I am going to go to my next guest because I am particularly, looking for people to talk to me about what my background says. But I do appreciate you for coming up, man. We're going to move on to our next guest here, y'all. Everyone do just going to give us a minute here. Be patient, guys. I'm going to go and send out a quick poll in chat. Let me see a smiley face if you're riding with Biden. Sad face if you're voting for Diaper Poopy Smelly Dawn. Moving on to our next guest here, y'all. So everyone do just give us a minute, guys. We're going to go ahead and get Michelle Castro up in the live. So everyone do be patient while we are loading in our next guest of the night, guys. Sorry, should I say the day. Moving on to our next guest. Everyone do be patient. I do apologize that this is taking so long, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to go ahead and try to get Carson up in the live. None of these guests are loading in. Purdy, thank you so much for the gym gun. Sorry for the money gun. I really appreciate you for the love. Moving on to our next guest. Thank you for the multiple money guns, Birdie. W Birdie, for real. What's up, Hayes? How old are you? What's up, Cheech? How old are you?
Officer 12, responding patrols, be advised.
That was a fucking cop. Yo, what? Yo, that was a literal cop. That's crazy. We just had a cop up on the live. Oh, man. Unfortunate. We're going to move on to our next guest here. Let's go to get JJ up in the live, go. All right, let's go ahead and try to load up our next guest, guys. That's crazy. That was a cop just on the live. I wish that I had mods that could help me exit people out of the queues so I could try to bring people up. Unfortunate. Moving on to our next guest here, ladies and gentlemen. Everyone, do be patient. Do give us a minute here, guys. What's up? How old are you?
I'm 22.
22, perfect. Are you voting for Trump?
If I had the opportunity, I would vote for Trump, yes.
Awesome. We're going to move on to our next guest. You're not voting for Trump. Let's go and get our next guest, Carson, up in the live. Also, Courtney, thank you so much for the $10 on Venmo. Courtney says, I am doing the Lord's work. I really appreciate you for the love, Courtney. Everyone, please show Courtney some love in that chat. What's up, Carson? How old are you? Ultimately leaving. Hello?
Hello?
Hey, how old are you?
18.
What year were you born in?
2006.
Are you voting for Trump?
I'd say so, yeah.
All right, why so?
It's kind of just where I'm from. I'm not really a political person, but
okay, yeah.
I would say I'm voting for him as of now. But I mean, if you can change my mind.
So, would you vote for someone that was held legally responsible for rape?
I don't know much about it, but was he proven guilty?
Yes, but would you vote for someone that was held legally responsible for rape?
Probably not.
Okay, so Trump was held legally responsible for rape.
I didn't know that because I'm not really much into politics.
So does this mean you're not going to be voting for Trump?
As of now, I probably am, but I guess I am a hypocrite for that saying that. Yes.
So why is Trump better than Biden?
Like I said, I'm not much into politics. It's basically where I'm from. I basically have to.
Okay, Carson, I'm gonna go ahead and just I'm gonna recommend. Hey, watch the live, hear what I'm saying, hear what the people who I'm debating are saying, see what the chat is saying, because you probably would need more information to have a discussion with me. But I mean, that's a lot of people right there. Yeah, they're just engaging in the mob mentality of the people around them. I'm not going to shit on Carson too much for that because that is very typical, right? We see that all the time on the left and on the right. So I'm just, going to go ahead and drop him and recommend that he tries to, learn something from the live. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to move on to our next guest here. Let's go to get Jaren up in the live, y'all. If you do want to support me, once again, my Venmo as well as my PayPal, Cash App, all in the bio, folks. What's up, Jaren? How old are you, man?
19.
19. Are you voting for Trump?
Probably Trump.
All right, why so, man?
I don't feel confident having someone who sleeps half the time on stage run our country.
But you do have confidence in a rapist?
Yeah, I mean, if he's competent.
Oh wait, do competent men rape women?
I mean, I guess it depends on the man.
Okay, so no, competent men do not rape women. Also, do competent men engage in some of the largest delusions of all fucking time? So when Donald Trump lost the 2020 election, he baby raged, denied the results, contested them in court, lost 60 times in a row, then convinced tens of millions of American voters that it was sufficiently rigged to be overthrown, instilling virtues of distrust in our civil and electoral processes. And you're telling me that this man is competent? This man who's engaged in one of the largest delusions of all times? This man who called Biden a quote-unquote bad Palestinian on the debate stage is competent? This man who said that he would date a 10-year-old girl in 10 years is competent? This man who raped a woman is competent? This man that says he likes to unconsensually grab women by the P word is competent? Really?
I don't recall him saying he wanted to date a 10-year-old. He said he wanted to date a 20-year-old, if I'm correct, because he said in 10 years. I mean...
yeah, and that's bad, because what that is, it's a sexualization of a fifth grader, and it's grooming.
Correct. No, I agree with that. But overall, he's more... He can actually run things and do things. Biden doesn't seem to even know where he's at.
Okay, so that's hyperbolic and ridiculously false.
Why is that? What has he done for the country?
Biden doesn't know where he's at. What has he done for the country? He's passed some of the most monumental legislation in modern U.S. history. We could talk about the Chips and Science Act, the PACT Act, the Infrastructure Bill, the Inflation Reduction Act. We could talk about it all, sir. Can you name one policy that Trump influenced to get passed that you agree with? No, you fucking can't. What has Trump done for the country? You don't know jack shit. You're just up here to talk shit, say that you're not voting for Biden because sometimes he shows incompetence, but you will vote for the rapist, the felon, and the fraudster. Yeah, come on, buddy. Do fucking better.
My bad, man. I mean...
Well, he left. He left, ladies and gentlemen. He left. Gagged I fear. Let's get some cricket emojis in the chat. Moving on to our next guest of the day. Moving on, ladies and gentlemen, he's a runner. He's a track star. Let's go and get Conrad up in the live. Absolutely insane, guys. Wow. We're going to go and get our next guest up in the live. That guy's a runner. Let's get some cricket emojis, some runner emojis. All right, let's celebrate that slight W while we're loading up our next guest here. I mean, absolutely unfortunate, ladies and gentlemen. Let me tell you. We got our next guest loading in. What's going on? Big Mike, how we doing? How old are you?
I'm 18.
You're 18, not so big, are ya? Okay, are you voting for Diaper Don?
You already know it, bro.
All right, why so?
Because, bro, have you seen Biden? Have you seen Biden have Sleepy Hollow and Chef G on the stage with him? I don't think so.
Okay, you're right. That's something Biden hasn't done, but Biden also hasn't raped a woman.
Okay, so look, Trump on a whole nother level. Biden not doing it. Think about it.
Oh, he's 17. All right, we're going to go to move on to our next guest. We got our next guest loading in. Everyone just give us a minute. Be patient, y'all. I'm going to go ahead and send out a poll here. Let me see a smiley face in the chat if you're riding with Biden, a sad face if you're voting for Diaper Don. We get our next guest loading into the live right now, y'all. So everyone, do just, be patient. Give us a minute. We got our next guest loading in. All right, everyone, do be patient. We got Paul loading in and Michelle loading in. We're trying to load in everybody here. Okay, let's go ahead and see what our next guest, Dennis Hintley, has to say. Everyone do be patient. Give us a minute here. All right, everybody. Also, what's going on? Dennis, how we doing?
Shit.
How old are you?
Hang on.
Hang on, we're running a show here. How long do you want me to hang on?
Yeah,
for,
okay,
Dennis?
I'm ready. Let me turn off my fan. I don't want to have that background noise,
Yeah, how old are you? Dennis, how old are you?
I'm 21 in November.
Awesome. Are you voting for Trump?
Probably.
Okay, why so?
Because I like him. To be frank.
Why do you think Trump is better than Biden?
Why do I think Trump is better than Biden?
Yeah, that's the question I'm asking you, man.
Yeah. It kind of it definitely, there's a lot of things.
Okay,
but
name one.
For me, it's just because literally the most basic thing is because he's a Republican, and that makes him more favorable to me.
So yeah,
based on that.
You're gonna ignore the fact that he raped a woman. You're gonna ignore the 34 felonies. You're gonna ignore that the legislation he passed served as a detriment to the middle class for the benefit of the top 1%. You're gonna ignore his undermining of the democracy just because he's running as a Republican. If Hitler was alive today, did live in the U.S., was a U.S.-born citizen, and he was running for the Republican Party, would you vote for Hitler over Biden?
No, obviously not. I think you jumped to a lot of conclusions there. Just because I said that, I favor him because he's a Republican, that doesn't mean that he's just going to be, all of his policies aren't going to be better, obviously.
Okay,
that's not what I'm saying.
Well, the logic that you gave me was essentially party loyalism. You're just telling me that you're willing to vote for whoever runs in your party regardless of who they are, what they've done, or what they will do. And like I was just using your logic there to show, well, party loyalism will always fail to a threshold, meaning if someone is still worse than the individual from the opposing party, you are not going to vote for them. Okay. So what like particular reasons would you say that you're going to vote for Trump over Biden, regardless of the party that he's running for? Like, would you still be voting for Trump if he was running as like a, independent?
As an independent,
Yeah.
he wouldn't have a chance at winning, most likely. That's also the same reason why.
Assuming he had the same amount of support he did now and he was running as an independent, would you still vote for Trump?
Yeah, probably.
Okay, so obviously you're not just loyal to your party, you're voting for Trump for some other reason. So what's the reason you're voting for Trump over Biden?
I'm not be my political beliefs as far as like the really big controversies. I agree more with Trump than I do Biden.
I mean, I wish that you'd be more specific here, but maybe I could ask you a specific question. So, do you think that violent offenders should be able to buy guns?
A violent offender? What do you mean?
Yeah, like a rapist or murderer, etc.
Probably not.
Okay, so Trump was held civilly liable for grape. So you'd say that he shouldn't be able to buy a gun, but he should be able to sit in the Oval Office with access to the nuclear codes. Gatlin, thank you so much for the champion. I appreciate you for the left. W. Gatlin.
That's an interesting point. But when was that? When was the supposed grape? Right.
1996.
1996. Okay. Yep. And what is the typical like prison sentence for grape?
I don't know what the typical prison sentence is. No.
Could you
also not relevant because he was held civilly.
You have that screen though. You have that screen too, right? Could you like search it really quick?
I mean, I don't see what the relevance is here because you held civil.
Well, the relevance would be so that if the grape sentence is like shorter than the time it's been, then it would be kind of relevant, you know? Like if the grape happened, for example, longer than the prison sentence was, then Trump probably is not the same person, even if that like you're saying that the grape was true and because he was found liable, right? So what I wanted to know was, well, you seem like you're searching it out.
Yeah, so this was in 1996. So the typical prison sentence for a rapist is 26 years. This happened over 26 years ago. So you're saying that, he served his time and is different?
Yeah. I would say he's probably a different person, yes.
Yeah, so I actually just gave you the prison sentence for someone convicted of child rape. So if Trump raped a child in the 1990s, you'd still vote for him then?
That's a little bit different.
Wait, why? I literally just gave you the prison sentence for child rape.
Right, yeah, but you manipulated the narrative.
Well, no, you said if the typical prison sentence
you're putting words in my mouth.
Moved on, then you.
But you're putting words in my mouth.
No, I'm using your logic against you. So you're saying like if the typical prison sentence for grape had passed since it occurred, well then you'd say that he served his time and he's a changed person. Well, if he had raped a child and the typical prison sentence for that had occurred, why would you hold a different conclusion?
Did he rape a child though?
No, I'm asking.
Exactly. So
I'm asking
what's
you,
the relevance there though?
Well, what's the relevant distinction? So both the time for him.
The distinction is it's a child.
So you're
it's a very
saying
big difference if it's a child.
So you're saying that you wouldn't vote for him if he raped a child in the 1990s, but you would vote for him if he raped a woman in the 1990s.
I would probably not, and he would probably also not be running for president.
What's the difference between him raping a child and this giving you sufficient reason not to vote for him, and him raping an adult woman and this not really mattering?
It's not that it doesn't matter. Okay, I'm not trying to disvalidate that. I'm saying that I'm saying I personally don't believe he did it.
Okay, so why do you reject the unanimous decision upheld by the 9 jurors?
Because it's not like he was found liable, right? So what's the difference between liability and guilty?
So the difference between like a civil court and a criminal court is that criminal courts send people to prison when civil courts just hold people legally responsible. There's also a difference in the standard of evidence upheld. And a civil court is due to preponderance of the evidence, what is more likely than not to be the case. And in a criminal court, it is what is believed to be the case beyond a reasonable shadow of a doubt.
Oh, okay. So
do you like typically
that means it's not guaranteed that he was liable.
So it's not guaranteed in either a civil or a criminal court. Do you typically think that civil courts are unreliable?
I wouldn't say so. I'm not super.
Okay, so you would say that they're typically reliable. So you say that like civil courts are typically reliable with the conclusions that they'd form.
Well, then you
so
have
why
to
would you
also,
specifically
like-
reject this one?
Another thing to look at would be like the motive, you know, like what
do you mean?
What would be the motive of? Well, it's pretty. It's not crazy to say that. It's not crazy to say that. Sorry, one sec. It's not crazy to say that. Shoot, I lost my train of thought. One sec.
I'm waiting.
So, yeah. So I was trying to say, what did I say before? Just like gotta reconnect, you know. I was
No,
saying,
you're saying that you're denying it because it was upheld in a civil court of law, but then at the same time you said that you typically accept the conclusions formed by civil courts of law, so it would require special reason from you insofar as why you reject this decision upheld by this civil court of law. Another question I could ask here is, well, can you name one piece of evidence that E. Jean Carroll provided to the court?
no, I actually don't.
So if you don't even
I
know
don't.
one piece of evidence that E. Jean Carroll provided to the court insofar as proving to the jurors that Trump raped her, well then how can you baselessly reject the case? Honestly, what it sounds like to me is you are
It's
conforming
not-
reality on the basis of your emotions and just denying any claims made against Trump because you want to view Trump as a good person, which thereby denies the real lived experiences of a woman who didn't just claim she was raped by a man but then proved it in court. What do you think this proves? What do you think this shows to victims across the context of the United States when we have men just like you who deny women who prove their rapist guilt in courts of law without knowing anything about the case on the basis of their emotions to fit their narrative? I think this will increase levels of harm perpetuated against women, perpetuated against victims, because this will tell men that no matter what they could do to a woman, no matter to the legal discourse that that woman might be able to achieve, that they will still be accepted into their social circles, and the real lived experiences of the individual that they victimize will be absolutely rejected without any reason. It's gross. It perpetuates rape culture. It perpetuates systemic misogyny, and it further uplifts the patriarchy. And like you understand that what Trump did falls in line with prior statements that he made. So under deposition, E. Jean Carroll testified to him walking into a changing room that she was in, throwing her against the wall, making out with her, and then doing other things that I probably can't talk about on TikTok Live. And one specific quote from her that I found quite interesting was that she said, well, it seemed like Trump thought that we were having a secret love affair that we both wanted to engage in, and he thought that she wanted him back. Okay? And tell me, does this perfectly align with other statements that he's made, such as the idea that you can grab any woman by the P word, you don't even have to ask first because they all throw themselves at you?
When did he say that?
On Access Hollywood.
He said that when? Like when?
I don't know when he said it. It's pretty old.
It's pretty old. So you mean like he could be different now? He doesn't say stuff like that now, though.
Okay, you're just saying that it could be different. So he could be different. So then why would you say that you wouldn't vote for him if he raped a child in the 90s? Why don't you uphold that same logic that he could be different?
Because it's just like that. Again, that's a personal belief of mine. Is just like I think. Okay. Yes.
So you'll
women
invalidate
and
the
children-
experiences of a woman, but you won't invalidate the experiences of a child.
Just give me a sec. Women and children are like the most important thing in this country to me. But I do hold children more important than women, if that makes sense.
Crazy. Okay. Hey, so if Trump
How is that crazy, though?
Wait, if Trump like sexualized little kids, would you still vote for him?
If he's doing that right now, no, probably not.
Okay, so yeah, he said that he dated a 10-year-old girl in 10 years.
Yes, that was in
1992. As well as he boasted to
1992.
as well as he
Did he
boasted
date
to
that girl
Howard,
in
as well as
2002?
as well as he boasted to Howard Stern on Sirius XM about the fact that he liked to walk into the change rooms of teen girls that were half naked at Miss Teen USA because he quote unquote owned the place, as well as the fact that there was some girls as young as 15 there. So if it is the case that you hold more value to children, to girls instead of women, well then wouldn't we say that there'd be sufficient reason provided here, given his statements about walking into the change rooms of little girls and saying that he'll date a 10-year-old girl in 10 years, sufficient to not vote for him?
You use the 1992 thing like every single time. I think you should remove that part from your little spew there because it's like kind of pointless. He didn't date that girl
But
in
he still
2002.
sexualized a fifth grader. That's what I care about here.
how did he sexualize her by saying that he would date her in 10 years, clearly as a joke, if you listen to the tone of his voice?
Oh, yeah, it's all a joke now. Further normalization of grape culture. When he said that he likes to unconsensually grab women by the P word because they all throw themselves at him, was that a joke?
You're going to say that I'm spewing the same nonsense because I don't know. I didn't see that clip.
I mean, do you want to go ahead and listen to it? Wait, no, I can't.
I've never seen that
I
clip.
gotta get my live taken down. Go ahead and look it up on YouTube.
Oh, okay.
I'm not gonna play it on. I'm not gonna play it on my live.
Okay,
just think
sure.
about it, like that'll probably get my live taken down.
Yeah, I got you.
But I guess like the fact here is like normalizing speech, like rejecting lived experiences of victims, all because it doesn't fit your narrative because you want to continue to look at Trump like a good guy. Do you understand how this perpetuates grape culture? Just like writing the sexualization of fifth graders off as a joke, right? Denying a woman who proves her rapist guilty in a court of law. Like if everyone adopted these same beliefs and values as you, like, do you think that this would be harmful to women as a whole?
I think it could be, but
so you admit that
honest,
like your ideologies further propone grape culture and further propone violence and harm against women, right? Another good question here. Another good question for me. So, I mean, Trump has a terribly sexist track record against women, right? Not only blatant disrespect and sexualization towards kids, but straight up violence referencing the grape case. So my question to you is, well, in Trump's past, we've seen him absolutely disregard the thoughts, wants, needs, concerns, and opinions of women outside of the Oval Office. So how can we expect him to, not disregard them while he's legislating inside of the Oval Office?
Sorry, my connection is slow. I'm gonna be honest. You're just gonna keep yapping, and that's what you do. I respect it because you.
Okay, so you're just not willing to engage in conversation with me.
No.
As soon as I walk you, you're like, nah, Dean, you're yapping. That's lazy. That's intellectually lazy of you. Get the fuck off my live. Never come back. We have some. Let's get some L's in the chat for the intellectual laziness. Right, I think it's just grotesque, right? How far these MAGA cultists will go to defend the quote-unquote chosen one, right? When at the end of the day, they get intellectually fucking dunked on by a 19-year-old that is infinitely smarter than them, right? And then when they do so, oh, Dean, you're just yapping. Hey, yeah, fuck you, never come back. What's up, how are you?
Hi.
Oh, you are a little boy. All right, moving on to our next guest here. See, that's what they do, chat. That's what these Trump supporters are all about. These Trump supporters aren't about intellect. These Trump supporters aren't about critical thought. These Trump supporters aren't about well-foundation, well-reasoned beliefs. These Trump supporters are about contorting reality. Trump poses a great danger to the state of our democracy, not only for the reason that he denied the outcomes of the 2020 election, but also for the reason that he has shifted the public interest away from critical thought, well-founded beliefs, and well-founded beliefs and intellect, and he has shifted it towards fringe conspiracy theory and denial of reality. And this right here is a prime example of it all. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. You heard it from me first, and that's the facts. We're going to move on to our next guest, Chance Davis. Let's try to get our next debate going here, guys. If you do want to support me, my Venmo as well as my PayPal are in my bio. I get 100% of the proceeds over this platforms.
Hello?
What's up? Hey, how old are you, Chance?
I'm 21.
You're 21. Are you voting for Trump?
Yes, sir, because I think Biden supporters are a bunch of gay fucking babies, and I think you've been crying this.
All right, so just to clarify your Chance, I am willing to talk to you. However, you can't say the word GAY on TikTok Live. TikTok will take you down for it. I'm going to let you finish your spiel here before I fucking embarrass you. But just don't say the word GAY, but go ahead and continue. But no, please, dig your own grave, dude. Take it away.
Oh, there we go. Okay, hold on. Dean, I think you've been this entire time sitting on here and preying on Trump supporters who don't exactly understand how to stand on a leg in a debate. I don't know how to, so I'm going to be real with you. I'm not going to debate you. I'm just going to insult you and call you a gay baby, but...
All right, Chance. Well, yeah, you're going to, come up here, throw a few insults around, then run away with your tail in between your legs. I'm going to go ahead and fill you in on the facts, though, Chance. So you are a victim of your emotions. You are purely barbaric in the sense that you lack critical thought, you lack well-reasoned beliefs. There's two rocks click-clacking away in your brain, the lights are on, but no one's home. Also, just to point it out for a minute, using the word GAY as a form of an insult is fucking embarrassing. Right? I would hate to see the day, right, when you recognize that being a member of the LGBTQ plus community is not reflective of any negative attributes. You know, I would hate to see the day when you wake the fuck up, bro. Come on, what the hell are we doing here? Right? I actually want to go ahead and touch on that. Why are we using the word GAY as an insult? Go ahead and explain to me why it's wrong to be a part of the LGBTQ plus community. Go ahead and give me the argument. Let me just destroy you real quick. Don't run. Give me the argument why it's wrong to be a part of the LGBTQ plus community.
I would never run from you in combat. I would stand my ground for Daddy Trump, and I'd make him emperor of the United States.
Oh my God, you're embarrassing yourself. So why is it wrong to be a member of the LGBTQ plus community?
Wait, why is it? It's not bad, but I think.
Cam, I appreciate you for the $10 on Venmo. Thank you so much for the love, Cam, for dog walking chance. Let's get some W Cams in the chat for the $10.
W him up, boys.
So if it is the case that you'd say that it's not wrong to be a member of the LGBTQ plus community, well then how come you would use the word GAY as a form of an insult when this just would further perpetuate the marginalization of said members of the community? Right? Like a good way that I like to explain this, imagine if society as a whole started using your name as a reference to something derogatory.
I think that'd be funny.
You think it'd be funny even
Everyone
if
start using my name as an insult, please.
Right. Yeah. So even if it led to forms of social persecution against yourself, further marginalization of yourself, it led to a grave portion of society saying that there's some fact about yourself that you didn't choose, that you can't change, that doesn't harm anyone else, that's intrinsically wrong. But go ahead and wait. First of all, how do you feel about the fact that Trump is a rapist? No, he left. Moving on to our next guest. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, that's how they go. They're all little crybabies, barbaric as shit, only emotions, no facts, right? That's not a man, that's a little boy, an insecure, narcissistic, egotistical little boy at best. And that's the facts. It's disgusting to use words like GAY. Thank you so much for the shiny air balloons. It's like a negative term of reference. Yeah, at the end, it's gross. It's gross. Shrimp, I appreciate you for the gym gun. Thank you so much for the love. We're going to go and load up our next guest here. In the meantime, y'all, let's go ahead and see what our next guest, Diverge, has to say. But we got a little crybaby. Let's get some L's for the crybaby in chat. All right, moving on to our next guest here, y'all. Everyone, just do give us a minute. Yo, Melissa, thank you so much for the $10 on Venmo. Good luck with my move. Thank you so much, Melissa. I really appreciate you for your kindness. Let's get some W Melissas in that chat. If you want to support me, my Venmo as well as my PayPal are in my bio. But at this point, we are going to move on to our next guest. Let's go and see what our next guest, Josiah, has to say. Everyone, do give us a minute to load our next guest up in here. And also, everyone, look at the little crybabies down there in the chat. Look at all the little crybabies down there in the chat, guys. Look at them all. Josiah, what's up? How old are you? Josiah, are you here?
What's up?
All right, a lot of background noise there. Everyone, look at all the crybabies in the chat. Look at all the little boys. Look at all the little children in the chat crying. Wah, 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 wah,
He's connecting me. No.
Hey, what's up, Sean? How old are you?
I'm 19.
Let's get some baby bottles. I want to see baby bottles spammed in that chat for the little crybabies down there. What year are you born in?
What?
What year are you born in?
Why should I tell you that?
Okay, because you're not 19. I appreciate you for coming up. Got to be at least 18 to be in TikTok Live. Keep the baby bottles coming for all the little crybabies down in the chat. Yeah. Dean, when he says using GAY in a derogatory manner is bad? Be so fucking for real. What's up, South? How old are you?
Hello? Can you hear me?
Yeah, what's up? James, thank you for the $5 on Venmo. Thank you so much for the love, James. And y'all, check my DMs. Let's get some W James in that chat for the $5 on Venmo. Thank you for the love. What's going on, man? You're obviously of age. Are you voting for Trump?
Yeah, I am voting for Trump. I am.
Why so?
First off, I just wanted to say, even though I don't agree completely with what you're doing, my hat's off to you because I am a business owner and I know that you are trying to make a name for yourself and get out there in the world, and I can't appreciate what you're doing. The reasons for me voting for Trump, I've been in the bail bonds industry for 25 years, 7 days a week. There's no days off. I've seen the worst of the worst that society has to offer as far as cases and charges and just people in general. We do probably 80 to 120 bonds out of this office a month. I'm sitting in it right now. And it's sad to see where this country has gone. And I think we need strength. Biden, years ago, 91 crime bill, right?
94.
He wrote that bill. Badass speech, right?
So what part of the crime bill did Biden write?
Well, I think he was involved in writing quite a bit of it. I did watch the speech. I haven't watched it in quite some time, but I do reflect back to that, back when, he was obviously young, he was hungry, and, he was our guy back then. But I think I'm worried about this country. I'm not worried about what's going on next door. I mean, it is definitely a concern for America, but we have a lot of problems right here, and I see it day in, day out, 7 days a week. We need to start paying attention here.
So what are the reasons you're voting for Trump over Biden? Is all that you've told me so far is because Biden wrote the crime bill in 94?
To be honest, all of those things that you were talking about, and I know that the whole grape case and all these things back in 96, I completely understand where everybody's coming from with that, but it was
I'm just so super curious. What's the reason here? Why are you voting for Trump over Biden? I haven't heard any.
The reason I'm voting for him is because we need to portray strength. And I think at the moment, Joe Biden is old. He can't control that. We know that. Okay.
Yeah.
We understand. I think the majority of America looks at Donald Trump as a strength point. They may not agree with everything he does and says. I do not.
Do you mind if I be honest with you, man?
Sure.
I don't think Trump portrays strength, and neither does the international community. So right now we are seeing a 54% favorability rating of Biden, which is higher than that of the favorability rating of Trump here at home in America today. Okay? What strength isn't is a narcissistic, self-centered egomaniac like Trump who baby rages when he loses an election and tries to undermine our democracy to get it back. Okay? What strength is someone who doesn't just care about themselves, but also cares about people and portrays unity, okay? And that is something that Trump never did. I mean, how is taking rights away from all 170 million American women by electing individuals to the Supreme Court for the pure reason of overturning Roe v. Wade portraying strength? No, what that portrays is oppression. You know what I mean? How is divisive rhetoric that divides our country into an in-group and an out-group, and if you're part of the in-group, the MAGA cult, he likes you. If you're part of the out-group, he doesn't like you. Won't even say happy Thanksgiving or Merry Christmas to you. Portrayed strength, that portrays division. And I understand what you're saying here. He does often come across as a very confident man, but confidence is not strength if confidence is grounded within delusion and forms of oppression.
Yeah, I mean, as far as leadership, as far as him being assertive, obviously he's a great businessman. When all of those cases happened back then, he was living in a different time, okay? The 90s, 80s, 90s, he was a millionaire, multi-millionaire, okay? He was living the dream. He never thought he would probably be in this position.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Times were different. Does this make the fact that he raped a woman any less worse?
Of course not. No, of course not. Listen, I'm no angel.
Yeah. Do strong men grape women? Let's go to touch on that point. Who grapes women? Strong men or weak men?
Listen, I've defended many of women in my career. I've been out working on the streets. I pick up people. I've arrested thousands of people in my career, looking for guys that didn't go to court and all that. I've seen men hitting women on the streets.
Yes, but who grapes women? Strong men or weak men?
No, well, I'm the first one to jump out. But no, weak men do that, obviously. I don't know what...
Trump's a weak man. Who sexualizes fifth graders? Strong men or weak men?
No, I understand. I don't
weak men. How could you possibly say that this man is strong with his history of treatment towards half of our population? How could you say that this man is what we need when he passed no legislation that benefited the working class more so than it benefited the top 1%?
This is what we need. We need two different people. That's what we need.
I agree with you.
To be honest.
I agree with you.
But both of these guys, listen, if I had a choice... If right now my choice would be him because I'm pro law enforcement. We need to crack down. There's a lot of shit going on. I'm in West Palm Beach, Florida. Palm Beach County is terrible. Okay, the crime rate is through the roof, and I'm worried about here now. I have a daughter, she's 14. I have a son, 13. If a man groped my daughter, he would not be here, and obviously I would be going to jail because that's how I go, and that's that. But, you know, fact of the matter is we need to fix what's going on here, and we need it done now, right now. But we need new candidates. We need new candidates. We need fresh blood. Okay, we need kids like you. Okay, first of all, I don't know if we agree. We probably don't agree politically on all the policies. I'm not an expert. All I do is what I do 7 days a week. This is what I do. Okay, I have 5.
Do you mind if I hop in here, man?
Go ahead. You tell me.
Okay, so I mean, you're talking about the idea that we need 2 different candidates. I couldn't agree with you more, but we addressed that in the primaries. We addressed that prior to the election, and most people don't get involved with politics until the presidential election comes around. We are forced to choose between these 2 candidates. We are forced to choose between the lesser of 2 evils. The only one point that you've given me so far insofar as why you're voting for Trump over Biden is because you think that Trump is stronger than Biden. I think that Trump is more confident than Biden, and I don't think that's because he's good at leading. I don't think that's because he has good policy. I don't think that's because he has good character. I think that's because he's more narcissistic than Biden. But this doesn't reflect well upon him. This reflects worse upon him. And I think that this could lead to very undesirable outcomes, such as the idea that he denied the 2020 election results and inspired tens of millions of American voters to have these virtues of distrust in our civil electoral processes. I don't think that this positively benefits us. Strength is not always a positive. I mean, you go back to World War II, people would have been saying that Hitler was a very strong leader, but did that mean that Hitler was a good leader? Absolutely fucking not. Okay? And when we're referencing strength, I think it's really important for us to qualify what constitutes said strength. And if narcissism and delusion constitute said strength, then that is not something that we should use as a pro when we are casting our vote in November. And this is why I think this is an ultimately failed talking point.
I agree.
Insofar as why Trump is better than Biden.
I agree with a lot of what you're saying. My concern is us right here, all of us in this country. Okay, that's the concern for me. And I just think that right now, I know Joe Biden, back in the earlier days, the guy was a badass. I mean, there's no doubt. He was very strong. He was very assertive. He's just, he needs to be on a beach, relaxing with his wife, and this should be done. He should not.
I agree with you that Trump doesn't. That both Biden and Trump don't look that good. I agree with you that Biden used to be much more, apt and all there than he is today. I agree with you that he shows his age more than Biden. Grandma, thank you for the money gun. But ultimately speaking here, I'm willing to take the old man with a good policy that cares about America in comparison to the old man that's delusional with a bad policy that serves as a detriment to the middle class that's literally been held civilly liable for rape that poses a threat to our democracy. Okay? That's the conclusion here, right?
This is my question. How, regardless of who goes in, how are we going to get Republicans and Democrats to come together with common sense and do what's right for us? Because they say, oh, it's all about the people. We have control of everything. It's bullshit.
Hey, South, I understand that you want to talk about this on a more broad scale than just Trump or Biden. And I think that you're raising good points here, but I am just specifically looking to talk to people insofar as why they're voting for Trump over Biden.
Absolutely, man.
Questions about how we're going to bring people together are relevant, but not super pertinent to our discussion insofar as why Trump is better than Biden. So did you have any other reasons here that you wanted to go over before I move on to my next guest?
No, I don't, man. I appreciate you having me on, and I appreciate what you're doing, and that's about it, buddy.
Awesome. I appreciate you for coming up, man. We're going to move on to our next guest here, but before we do, I did want to thank a couple people for their donations. First of all, I'm going to start a poll in the chat. Let me see a smiley face if you're running with Biden. Well, I can't because of the U.S. election alert. Never mind. Tyson, thank you so much for the $5 on PayPal. Tyson says, love watching your streams, dude. I'm sorry you have to deal with the preteens that praise Andrew Tate and Trump. Hey, man, I appreciate you for the love. Also, sweet car. I see it in your profile picture there. Cynthia, thank you for the $10 on PayPal saying to buy tissues for the crybabies. Thank you for the money gun too, Kobe. That's funny, Cynthia. Thank you for the love. Shelly with a $10 on PayPal saying, get the jerk off. He has no clue. You're doing a great job. I'm guessing that's in reference to the guest beforehand. Absolutely right. I appreciate you for the love there. Martha with a $5 on Venmo saying, on your live now. Thank you so much for the love, Martha. James with a $5 saying, did you check DMs? I sent you something you might think is interesting about religion. I do check my Discord. That's the best way to get a hold of me. And Elizabeth, thank you for the $5 on Venmo saying TikTok and all the women. Hey, Elizabeth, I appreciate you for your love. If you want to support me, my Venmo, my PayPal, or my bio, I also, after every guest, will read out all the questions or statements, remarks made from the donors. So I appreciate you guys for your support. We're going to move on to our next guest at this point. If you're voting for Trump, make sure to hop in that queue, y'all. We have about another, 2 hours on live before we do hop off for the day, so let's try to get some more debates out of the way. Let's go ahead and see who our next guest is. Let's go ahead and get, who are we going to talk to? Let's go ahead and try to get Zach up in the live. If you're voting for Trump, let me see a couple MAGAs in that chat. And Ashley, thank you so much for the money gun. I appreciate you for that love. All right, Zach didn't load in. Moving on to our next guest, y'all. Everyone, do give us a minute. Do be patient. We're going to try to get Drew up in the live here. India, thank you for the like pop. All right, Drew didn't load in, automatically left. Moving on to Noah. Everyone, do be patient. Do give us a minute, y'all. Also, if you want to see a really funny video of me dunking on a MAGA cultist, go check out my recent on my main account. Also, please go drop it a like, couple shares, a few comments. It's really funny, guys. What's up, Noah? How old are you? Noah, hello.
Old enough.
Oh, that is a fetus, ladies and gentlemen. That is an actual fetus. We are going to move on to our next guest. That is wild. Let's get some L fetuses. Let's get some L fetuses in the chat. Moving on to our next guest. Let's go ahead and get our next guest, JG up in here, y'all. Everyone just give us a minute here, guys. Someone says, vote Brent Peterson. That's funny. Max at Radio College, I'd love for you to hop in the queue. All right, we're going to move on to our next guest. Everyone do give us a minute. I'm going to go ahead and pull up our next guest right now. Let's try to get Max up in here. Max, please hop in the queue. I'd love to speak to you. Spam MAGA in the chat if you do want to come up. We're going to get Christians for Trump up on the live next. Nope, they automatically left. Moving on to our next guest here. Let's go ahead and get our next guest, James Clark, up in the live, y'all. Just seriously, guys, thank you for your continued support. Today, yesterday, you guys have been showing so much love recently, and I'm so grateful for it. All right, our next guest is loading in. Everyone, do be patient. Do give us a minute, guys. Also, let's try to hit 1 million likes. So everyone in here, make sure that we are double tapping away on that phone screen, y'all. Also, make sure that we're sharing out this live with a couple friends here today. And Shannon, thank you so much for the $5 on Venmo. Shannon says, Project 2025 is a nightmare on Earth. I'm choosing the lesser of two evils. Absolutely, Shannon. You are spot on. Thank you for the love. We're going to go ahead and try to get Dalton up in here, y'all. Everyone, just give us a minute while we do load in our next guest, guys. All right. We are really trying to get our next guest in here. This is rough, guys. This is rough, ladies and gentlemen. What's going on? That Stang, what's up? How old are you?
What's going on, man? I'm 18.
You're 18. What year were you born in?
2006.
Awesome. Are you voting for Trump?
I am still kind of hung up on it. I don't think I'm going to vote, surely due to the fact that Trump.
Awesome. I am just looking for people who are voting for Trump. I do appreciate you for coming up. Jaden Chad, what's going to get you up here? All right. We got Jaden Chad loading in. Jaden Chad said in chat, put me up there, Dean. Don't be scared, little bro. Jaden Chad.
Yo, what's up, Dean?
Why do you think I'm scared of you, little bro?
Oh, no, I don't think you're scared of me. First of all, 22 years old, born in 2002. So I have a very unique perspective. Obviously, I'm voting for Trump. I'm Republican. I voted for him in 2020, and I'll be voting for him again. So we're in a very unique situation here where we have one candidate that's already had 4 years, and we have another candidate, Biden, that's also had 4 years. So we're literally, the decision that's coming down to is, were you better off under Trump or were you better off under Biden? Would you agree with that?
No, I wouldn't agree with that. No.
Why not? Whoa,
no.
Okay, I'll let you talk. Why not?
I think the decision ultimately comes down to what has Trump or Biden done for you, not if you were better off under their respective presidencies, okay? So, like, the question that I'd ask you is, if you feel like you're worse off under Biden, how did Biden cause you to be worse off?
Well, I think what you just said is it's the same thing, just a different perspective on the question, but we'll roll with it. Okay.
No, it's not the same thing, not at all. Like, for instance, we've seen higher levels of inflation. We've seen higher house prices, higher prices of gas at the pump. You go to the grocery store, you're paying more for the necessary goods to sustain your life, food, right? But if it's not caused by Biden, this shouldn't give you any reason to not vote for him, right?
So can you tell me what it's caused by then?
Like what specifically?
All the things you listed: inflation, gas prices, grocery prices, housing prices. What's it caused by? What is all the hike up caused by?
Sure,
is
the
it caused
inflation
by?
that we saw in the context of the U.S. It was a response from COVID, and we didn't even see it in the U.S. alone. We saw it across the globe. If you would have gone north, east, south, west in 2021, 2022, you would have ran into the same inflation. In fact, the U.S. had the quickest global rebound from said inflation out of any country in the world. Additionally, your higher gas prices, Russia's invasion of Ukraine, we're no longer getting oil from them, causing there to be a lesser supply of oil worldwide, causing prices to go up. A deal that Trump brokered with Saudi Arabia at the end of his term to decrease oil output from OPEC, causing prices to go up. You're saying that it was caused by Biden. Can you name the policy or executive order that Biden influenced to get passed that caused the price of gas at the pump to increase?
No, I did not say it was caused by Biden. Please don't put that word in my mouth.
Then why would you blame him for it?
Absolutely didn't say that. What I asked you is, who was it caused by? Was it caused by anybody or just the things that you mentioned, the things that happened to be going on under Biden's presidency? Let's just put it there. This is all happening under his presidency. But I want to point out something that you mentioned. You mentioned COVID. Pretty sure Biden has declared COVID to be over. Yeah?
Yes.
So
Like
why are
the
we still
pandemic is
experiencing inflation, high gas prices, high housing prices, high grocery prices? Can you explain if it was really COVID and we're out of COVID now? I would say we're at least 2.5 years out of COVID now. Why are we still experiencing this?
Because that's how economics works.
So how long is it going to be?
One thing that I would like to touch on specifically when we're referencing it.
No,
One second.
hold
No,
on.
Jaden, I'm speaking.
How long are
buddy,
we going to be in this, man?
You asked me a question. I will respond to your question without just being able to get 3 words out. So inflation is simply the rate at which the pricing of goods increases.
No, I know what inflation is.
So
but can you answer
let me, hey
why are
buddy, you're going on mute. So yes, inflation is so down. As of 5 days ago, the rate of inflation is 3%, right? This is not a high rate of inflation at all, right? But the reason that we still see high prices at the gas pump or high prices in the grocery store is because inflation conveys to us the rate of change in the pricing of a good. Right? And it is the case that we won't see these prices decreases. We'll just see the rate of change at which they decrease. That's what inflation tells us, right? And there's other reasons why we see like the prices of like gasoline still so high. That's because we're still not getting oil from Russia, and we still see a decrease in the oil supply, which drove up prices.
Whoa, Dean, hold on. You told a guest earlier that we're importing and drilling more oil than we ever have before. Now you're contradicting yourself.
No,
I
I particularly made the statement that we're producing more oil at home here in America than we ever have in the past, but we predominantly rely on imports because it costs less.
So we are not. We do not have as much oil as we did under Trump, under Biden now, right?
We're producing more oil.
Okay, you're contradicting yourself though.
This is not a contradiction. What's the contradiction?
You just said that we're not importing any oil from Russia right now. That's just one country. That's a pretty big supplier of oil.
The U.S. is producing the most oil it ever has, and the U.S. is producing more oil than any other country in the world. However, we still see a lower global oil supply.
Okay, now I can't let you get by that, Dean. I respect you, man. You're behind the computer.
How do you not understand this?
No, you're contradicting yourself. I think everybody can see that.
What's the contradiction?
I just told you earlier on your live, you had a guest on who was screaming a little bit, and you told him that we're producing more oil in the United States and in general than we have before. We have way more oil under Biden than we did under Trump. But you just told me that we don't because we're not importing oil from Russia.
No.
But let's get back onto the topic.
I'm going to.
We don't need to focus on oil here, man. You just said
no.
that
I'm going to clear up your misconception. Do you mind if I educate you real quick?
Sure. Go ahead.
So the worldwide the global oil supply, right, has decreased. That's why we see higher prices. But we at home here in America are increasing more than we ever have. Just because we at home here in America are producing more oil than we ever have, doesn't mean that this would mean that we'd expect an increased global oil supply comparative to the past. Like, let me give you a good analogy here. So imagine you and your brother make apples, and last year you made 5 apples and your brother made 5 apples. This would mean that the production between the two of you was 10 apples. But let's imagine this year you make 8 apples. Meanwhile, your brother makes 1 apple. So while it is the case that you're making more apples than you ever have been before, relative to how many apples you and your brother are making in total, there's still a decrease in the overall apple supply. And this is like the same thing is true of like worldwide global oil production. The U.S. is making more oil than the U.S. ever has before, this being sourced from the U.S. Energy Information Administration. However, we still see, a decrease in the global oil supply.
Great. So as far as it relates to the United States, you claim that because we're not importing oil from Russia, that is one of the factors of the high gas prices, right? Was that basically what you were saying?
The two predominant factors of the high gas prices is going to be a decline in the oil production from OPEC due to a deal that Trump brokered with them before he left office. And we are no longer relying on Russian imports for oil because of their invasion of Ukraine. Those are two of the factors, alongside general inflationary pressures that were more so results of the pandemic. But the question I'd ask you here is, can you tell me how, from your perspective, Biden caused the price of gas to increase?
Well, I can definitely say the war in Ukraine would have not happened under Trump. I completely believe him when he says that. It's
Can
a
you
very
give me any
bold claim.
facts to substantiate this?
Absolutely. Putin actually respected Trump way more than he did Biden, and you can actually hear him say this in an interview that he did with Tucker Carlson. I believe that Trump was very hold on. I believe that Trump was very unpredictable. He wasn't a politician, not something that Putin or any other world leader is used to dealing with. He's a successful businessman, a little erratic, and they don't know exactly what he's going to do in any given moment, which puts fear into our enemies. Putin would not have invaded Russia or would not have invaded Ukraine under Trump. Now, Biden comes in, a career politician. It's very obvious Biden does not have a strong personality, confidence, or backbone that Trump does. And that gave Putin a little bit of a green light. I can really push this guy. Biden set a red line on Ukraine. Putin went right over it. Biden set another red line. He went right over it, and he's continued to go over it. But I want to get back to the gas prices here and how this.
No, I want to respond to that real quick. So the reason that Putin liked Trump more than Biden was because Trump bowed the knee to him. Okay, he just seceded to the foreign dictator.
I do not think Trump bowed the knee to Russia. I think it's the other way around there.
Okay, you know what happened in Helsinki?
I think Putin bowed the knee to Trump. What was that?
You know what happened in Helsinki?
No.
Okay.
Hold on. Is that relevant to what we were talking about, gas prices and whatnot, and the oil?
No, it's relevant to how Trump bowed the knee to Putin.
Okay, sure. I don't think that's worth going on a rant here, man.
The fact is Trump asked Putin why he was interfering with our elections. Putin said he wasn't interfering with our elections.
That's actually a whole nother topic that I want to get into with you. But we can do that a little later about elections and whatnot. But we should really continue talking about how the current economy, how everyone is not good under Biden that they were under Trump. That's a simple fact. So let's go back to what we were talking about with the gas prices. You were saying that Russia...
you brought up Russia's invasion of Ukraine. You made the claim that Russia wouldn't have invaded Ukraine if it was the case that Trump was still president.
Correct.
I'm telling you that you have no facts to substantiate this. You gave me anecdotes.
Do you have facts that Putin
sir,
would have invaded Ukraine under Russia? Under Trump's presidency?
Do you mind if I finish here?
Sure, go ahead. Yeah, you're the host.
Thank you. All right. So what I'm saying here is you're saying that if Trump was president, they wouldn't have invaded Ukraine. There's no facts to substantiate this. This is all conjecture, hearsay, and speculation.
Absolutely. But you can say the same thing.
1 in 10%.
You can say the same thing about
Jaden, I just asked you if I could finish. So are you going to engage in a two-way conversation with me, or will I have to put you on mute?
Well, absolutely. I'll engage in a two-way conversation, but you've interrupted me a couple of times too, man. But go ahead.
So no, Jaden, I've not interrupted you. I've been trying to finish my statement here. So there's two interruptions. Third interruption, I'm gonna have to put you on mute. Okay. Back to what I was saying. So you made the claim that Russia wouldn't have invaded Ukraine if Trump was still president. There's no facts to substantiate this opinion. You only have your emotions, complete speculatory hearsay, and fear-mongering. This is not critical thinking. This is you engaging in delusion, just like Trump when he denied the 2020 election. Insofar as your second claim that the reason he wouldn't have invaded Ukraine if Trump was still president was because he respected Trump more than Biden, well, I think that it's necessary to point out the fact that he liked Trump more than Biden, not for the reason that Trump was more scary, but for the reason that Trump bowed the fucking knee to Putin. Okay? So in Helsinki, Putin walks up to Trump. He's like, Trump walks up to Putin. He's like, oh, why are you interfering with our elections? Okay? And then Putin is like, oh, we're not interfering with your elections. And then Trump's like, oh, I'm so sorry for ever accusing you of such a thing. I'm so sorry, Daddy Putin. I'll never do it again. Why would I ever say that thing? Bowing the fucking knee.
That doesn't sound like facts.
Tell me why. Tell me why the leader of the free.
Hold on.
Tell me why the president of the United States of America, with the world's largest consumer base, the world's largest economy, and the world's largest military by far, is bowing the knee to a foreign dictator.
Yo, Dean, are you going to keep muting me, or are we going to have a two-way conversation, bro?
Jaden, I muted you because you interrupted me.
No, okay, but what you just ended on was emotions and not facts, dude. You just
no,
went
you could go
straight
online.
into
There's a video of
emotions.
this. Go on YouTube. Look up Trump talking to Putin, election interference in Helsinki. Watch it for yourself.
Okay, well, what you said about Trump, and that I have no facts to back that up. That's absolutely true. Completely, it's speculative. We don't know conversations that were had. He could have hated Trump. Doesn't matter. Okay, but you could say the same thing about Biden. You cannot tell me that Putin, with facts, that Putin respects Biden. It's a two-way street, dude. You also don't have any facts.
Yes, it is a two-way street, and that's
You're just
particularly
interrupting me.
why I wouldn't vote for Biden on the basis that their invasion of Ukraine would have been worse if Trump was in office. We don't have any facts that go either way. It is definitely a two-way street. That's why this is particularly a failed talking point on any side, insofar as why we'd be voting for one candidate over another.
Sounds good. So let's go back to Russia and importing oil and gas prices. That's what really matters to the American people here.
Yeah, so go ahead and answer my question. How did Biden cause the price of gas to increase at the pump? Name the policy, name the executive order.
He has been regulating oil companies. It's much harder for an oil company to get a permit to drill on American soil. That's a simple fact.
Biden has approved more drilling permits than any sitting president ever.
I need you to cite that source, dude, because first day in office, one of his first of hundreds of executive orders, and you want to talk about a dictator on day one with that whole out of context line that you guys use for Trump. Biden literally comes in and reverses everything Trump did with executive orders. Not going through Congress, not going through our democracy, no voting, straight executive orders.
So executive orders is defined as a function, an official act of the president by the U.S. Constitution. And not to mention, Trump did the same thing. All presidents do the same thing. The reason I said that Trump is going to be a dictator on day one is because that's what Trump said. Insofar as a source, we could particularly reference, quote, Biden administration oil drilling permits outpace Trump. And this is from Politico Pro. This references the fact that Joe Biden has approved nearly 50% more oil and gas drilling permits for wells on federal land since taking office than former President Donald Trump did. In his first
what year was that
term? So this came out on January 30th of 2024.
And that was where? The source?
Politico Pro. You could also reference Center for Biological Diversity.org, Energy in Depth, or Public Citizen. I mean, this is everywhere.
Okay. Well, if that's true, why are the gas prices still high?
Why are the gas prices so high? Because we mainly rely on imports for our oil.
Okay. So do you think we could increase drilling in the United States even more?
Yeah, it's actually still going up as we speak.
Yeah. Why hasn't he made that a top priority to skyrocket that?
Because he already has skyrocketed it.
But you just said it could go a little bit higher. We could do a little bit more. You just said.
But the reason it's not a top priority is because it's already something that's happening regardless of it not being a top priority. Like we are literally producing more oil than any other country in the world that ever has existed or does currently exist.
You keep saying that, but our gas prices are still high, man. I need you to
for the reason that
that
we predominantly rely on imports for oil because it costs less money to import oil than to produce it here at home in America. And oil is a global market. So even though one country is producing more oil than it ever has, when we still see less oil being produced across the board, globally speaking, we are still going to see higher gas prices at the pump.
Okay,
now, there was one other thing I wanted to touch on here. You said that Biden did something on day one that caused gas prices to skyrocket. Can you clarify on that point?
I don't think it's worth going on a rant, man. We've been talking about gas prices.
Okay, so just to let you know, Jaden, the entire time that you've been up here, you've been asking me questions, which I think is valid, and I'm so happy that I've been able to answer them. But it is the case that you have not given me an argument for how Biden increased prices at the pump. So just be honest here. Do you have an argument? Do you have any reason? Or is it just simply a correlation between him sitting in the presidency and prices rising at the pump while he's in the presidency?
Obviously, it's his policies. I just believe that
name
his
the policy,
policies
name the
aren't
policy.
being his policies and the way that he's treating the gas price situation, inflation,
Name the
everything
policy.
across the board.
Name the policy or executive order that Biden passed that caused prices to skyrocket. If it has to do with his policies causing it, name the policy.
he is not encouraging private companies to drill more oil in the United States. I believe
that is
what you're
literally
saying.
Misinformation. That is
No, it's not.
actually fucking misinformation.
No, it's not. I believe that importing oil is a little bit cheaper for us, and it is probably a big factor